Think back to when adventure fit in the palm of your hand, when a tiny screen could transport you somewhere brighter, kinder, and full of wonder. For so many of us, Pokémon wasn't just a game. It was a safe place we carried through childhood and quietly tucked into adulthood. That spark you felt back then, it's still there, and tonight we're going to let it glow again. A world teeming with creatures of every shape and wonder, where the air hums with ancient secrets, and the stars themselves seem to whisper forgotten tales. Before we go any further, I know many of you like to fall asleep to my videos, or you watch it in the background while you multitask, so I will keep my narration calm and gradually dim the brightness for you. Quick thank you to everyone who's been supporting these videos. You're seriously amazing. Most of our regular viewers are already subscribed, but if you haven't yet, take a moment to double check you're subscribed and that your bell is set to all. YouTube's been acting up lately, so this helps make sure you actually see new uploads, and it really helps our little community grow. Also, don't forget to share this video with any friends you have who also love Pokémon. Thanks again. Now back to the video. Welcome to the Pokémon universe, a realm that captures our hearts with its battles, adventures, and unbreakable bonds, yet hides layers upon layers of enigma beneath its vibrant surface. I'm your guide through the shadows of this beloved lore, and tonight, as we embark on a journey designed for those quiet moments before sleep, we'll unravel the threads of its deepest unsolved mysteries. Picture this: you've just caught your first Pokémon, that thrill of connection sparking something magical. But have you ever paused mid-adventure to wonder about the why behind it all? Why do some creatures defy the laws of nature we know? Why do ancient ruins echo with languages no one can decipher? And what if the stories we've grown up with, the myths of creation, the legends of time and space, are not just fairy tales, but glimpses into a cosmos far more complex and chaotic than we imagine? The Pokémon world isn't just a playground for trainers. It's a tapestry woven from contradictions, half-truths, and profound unknowns that challenge everything we think we understand. In the regions we've explored, from the bustling streets of Kanto to the wild frontiers of Paldea, Pokémon lore stretches back eons, preserved in crumbling tomes, whispered by elders, and etched into the very landscape. Sinnoh's myths speak of a singular force that birthed the universe itself. Kalos holds echoes of a war that shattered realities. And in Hisui's ancient wilds, humans and Pokémon walked a knife's edge between harmony and peril. Yet, for all the games, anime, and manga that bring this world to life, so much remains shrouded in ambiguity. Developers at Game Freak have crafted a canon that's deliberately fragmented, inviting us to piece together the puzzle ourselves. It's this intentional mystery that keeps fans like us coming back, night after night, theorizing in forums and dreaming up what-ifs. But let's lean into that allure. Close your eyes if you can. Let the soft rhythm of my voice carry you deeper. We're not here for high-stakes action or frantic chases. This is lore for sleep, a gentle exploration where each unsolved riddle unfolds like a lullaby, soothing your mind while igniting that spark of curiosity. We'll delve into 10 profound enigmas that question the very foundations of the Pokémon world. Not as a checklist of facts, but as a meditative wander through its hidden depths, where science brushes against the supernatural and history intertwines with the ethereal. Consider the fabric of existence itself. At the heart of it all lies a creation story that's as poetic as it is perplexing. In the lore of Sinnoh, there's an entity said to have emerged from nothingness, a wheel of divine energy spinning the threads of time, space, and antimatter into being. It birthed guardians to hold the cosmos together, dragons of steel and pearl, shadows twisted in exile, but journey to other lands, like the ancient texts of Kalos or the oral traditions of Hisui, and the tale shifts. Was this progenitor a literal god, or a symbol woven from human fears and hopes? Do these regional variations hint at a singular truth, retold through cultural lenses, or do they reveal a multiverse of conflicting realities. The hierarchy of legendaries forms a grand pantheon, yet cracks appear everywhere, suggesting that what we call canon might be a mosaic of timelines, each branching like the roots of an ancient tree. And oh, the creatures themselves. Pokémon aren't just animals or monsters. They're anomalies wrapped in enigma. Take those elusive beings that slip through rifts in the sky, invaders from realms beyond our own. Towering otherworldly forms with biologies that mock earthly evolution. Jellyfish-like horrors pulsing with extra-dimensional energy. Or crystalline beasts that phase through solid matter. Are they Pokémon at all, or something alien drawn here by forces we can't yet fathom? Their dimension-hopping leaves trails of chaos, energy signatures that warp the air and unsettle the land. Scientists in the games puzzle over them, but no theory holds water. It's as if the veil between worlds is thinner than we know, and these visitors are harbingers of what's to come, or what's already bleeding through. Then there's the shapeshifter among us, that unassuming blob of pink potential. It mirrors any foe with eerie precision, yet always betrays its true self in those telltale eyes and unchanging mass. Scattered clues point to shadowy origins, abandoned labs on volcanic islands, whispers of genetic tinkering gone awry, echoes of a legendary feline's DNA twisted into something new. Is it a failed experiment, a survivor of forbidden science, or a deliberate creation meant to bridge worlds? The uniformity across every individual screams artificiality, a puzzle that tugs at the edges of our understanding of life itself. Fractures in time and space only deepen the riddle. Portals to realms where gravity inverts and logic unravels, guardians that dance between past and future, forms that shouldn't exist yet do, echoes of paradoxes in forests and ruins. The games themselves seem to reboot softly with each generation, not erasing the past but layering it, implying a web of timelines where every choice, every legend, splinters into infinity. It's a canon built on multiplicity, where continuity bends to accommodate the wonder. Ghosts haunt the periphery, spectral essences that blur life and death. Some wear the masks of lost souls, others emerge from the ether as pure phenomenon, and still more possess the inanimate with mischievous glee. No single origin binds them. They're a category of the uncanny, mixing human remnants with elemental forces and crafted haunts. What defines a ghost? Is it the echo of mortality, or a fundamental force of the universe manifesting in shadows? Even the tools of our trade, the spheres that capture and befriend, hold secrets. Inside, what paradise or prison awaits? Do they digitize the soul or fold space into a pocket dream? Ancient prototypes from Hisui's era hint at cruder beginnings, but modern mechanics evade explanation, with tales of Pokémon resisting or relishing the capture, suggesting a subjective, almost conscious experience. Lost civilizations whisper from the stones. Undeciphered scripts in labyrinthine ruins. Intersections of myths where cultures clashed and faded. Castles buried in sand. Settlements swallowed by time. Evidence of advanced societies where humans and Pokémon coexisted in ways long forgotten. What cataclysms erased them, and what knowledge did they take to the grave? Reproduction among the mighty ones adds another layer. Most legends stand alone, eggless immortals, yet rare exceptions birth lineages that defy the rule. Protoforms from ancient eras suggest breeding populations that once roamed, evolving into the solitary icons we revere. Did time, or some greater design, sever their ties to the cycle of life? Energies that empower, Megas, Z-moves, Terastals, flare regionally, tied to crystals and relics from prehistory. Are they facets of a primal power, reshaped by human will and environmental whims? Fossils preserve hints of their ancient prevalence, urging us to question if these boosts are rediscoveries or evolutions of something innate. Finally, the divide between us and them. Ancient libraries claim we were once one, a shared ancestry blurred by law of transformations, psychics bending minds like ours, mimes aping human quirks, anomalies where boundaries dissolve. Legends of humans becoming Pokémon, or vice versa, challenge the line we draw. Are we trainers or just another species in the grand evolutionary tree? These mysteries aren't loose ends. They're the heartbeat of the Pokémon world, pulsing with possibility. As we settle in for this extended voyage, over an hour and a half of whispered wonders, let them wash over you like a gentle tide. No rush, no spoilers, just the slow reveal of lore that invites dreams. Whether you're a long-time collector of shiny secrets or a newcomer lured by the glow of a Pokédex, this is your invitation to ponder the unponderable. Relax, breathe deep, and let's begin our nocturnal quest into the unknown, entering the Pokémon enigma. Have you ever stopped to wonder why Pokémon has captured the hearts of millions for decades? Not just as a game or show, but as a living, breathing tapestry of secrets that feel almost too real to be fiction. It's more than cute creatures and epic battles. It's a universe layered with enigmas that challenge what we think we know about reality itself. Today, we're stepping into that enigma together, exploring the top 10 unsolved mysteries of the Pokémon world that make you question where the line between myth and truth really lies. What if the world we know hides dimensions beyond capture? Imagine for a moment that every Poké Ball you throw isn't just containing a friend, but brushing against something far deeper, something that echoes from places we can't even map. This isn't wild speculation. It's the core of Pokémon lore, a realm where ancient texts, forgotten ruins, and whispered legends collide to create puzzles that fans have debated for years. As we settle in for this journey, let me guide you through the allure of it all, because Pokémon isn't just entertainment, it's a mirror to the unknown, inviting you to ponder the shadows just beyond the light. Let's start by pulling back the curtain on why these mysteries grip us so tightly. Pokémon lore draws from global myths, blending Japanese folklore with Western fairy tales and even scientific curiosities, but it never fully explains itself. That's the magic. You see, from the moment you boot up the first game on your Game Boy, you're thrust into a world where gods walk among trainers, time bends like a river in flood, and creatures evolve not just physically, but into symbols of deeper truths. The allure lies in that incompleteness. It's like a half-remembered dream that pulls you back night after night. And tonight, as we relax into these tales, we'll tease the edges of 10 such mysteries, each one a thread in the grand weave of Pokémon's hidden history. They'll blur the boundaries of reality and myth, leaving you with that satisfying chill of discovery, perfect for drifting off while your mind wanders the stars. One of the earliest sparks that ignited endless fan debates came from the very dawn of the franchise. Back in the 1990s, when Red and Blue first hit shelves, players noticed oddities that the games didn't address, like why certain Pokémon seemed to defy biology, or how legendary beings fit into a world of everyday life. Fans gathered on nascent forums, scribbling theories about hidden dimensions and lost civilizations. Take the simple act of catching a Pokémon. Was it partnership or something more invasive? These discussions weren't heated arguments. They were late-night wonderings, shared over traded cartridges, fostering a community that turned Pokémon into a shared enigma. You might remember your own first theory, maybe about why some Pokémon glow with otherworldly energy, or how the stars in the night sky seem to align with legendary encounters. Those early ideas set the tone for everything that followed, reminding us that Pokémon invites us to co-create its secrets, making the lore feel personal, almost intimate. As we ease deeper, consider the foundation of it all, the creation myths that underpin every region. In Sinnoh, ancient tablets speak of Arceus as the Alpha, a being that existed before the universe itself, shaping time with Dialga, space with Palkia, and the distortions between with Giratina. But then you travel to Kalos and the lore shifts. Azelf, Mesprit, and Uxie guard the mind, heart, and soul, hinting at a different genesis. Are these regional retellings, like folktales passed down through generations, or clues to a fractured cosmology? Fans latched onto this early, theorizing that Pokemon's world isn't linear, but a mosaic of truths, each myth a piece of a larger puzzle. It sparks that intriguing relaxation, doesn't it? The kind where your thoughts float freely, pondering if Arceus is a literal god or a symbolic force, watching over us all. And speaking of fractures, what about the rifts in time and space that pepper the games? In Sinnoh's distortion world, gravity flips and logic unravels, a place where Giratina rules amid paradoxical physics. Johto's ruins whisper of Celebi, the time traveller whose very presence suggests branching timelines. Even in Paldea, those strange paradox forms, like ancient or future Pokémon, appearing out of nowhere, imply the canon isn't one straight path, but a web of possibilities. Early fans debated this fiercely, after Gold and Silver, wondering if each generation was a reboot or a parallel thread. Could your save file be one timeline among infinite others? It's a mystery that blurs reality, making you feel like every playthrough peels back another layer of the veil. Then there are the ghosts, those ethereal types that send shivers down your spine, even in the quiet of night. Some, like Yamask, carry the masks of departed humans, their tears real echoes of lost souls. Others, such as Rotom, are playful spirits possessing appliances, while Misdreavus drifts as pure elemental mischief. And don't forget the possessed objects, like Burnett, stitched from abandoned dolls seeking revenge. No unified origin exists for ghost types. It's a category that mixes the supernatural with the spectral, leaving fans to theorize if they're all dead Pokémon, cursed energies, or something bridging life and afterlife. Picture yourself in a foggy lavender tower, hearing faint cries. Does it make your heart race, or soothe you with its otherworldly calm? These debates started small, in fan art and zines, but grew into theories that question the very nature of death in this world. Shifting gears to the tools of the trade, Poké Balls themselves hide mechanics that defy explanation. You press the button, a red beam pulls your partner inside, and suddenly they're in a digital paradise. Or are they? The internal environment remains a black box. Physics points to some energy state conversion. Yet stories of Pokémon resisting capture suggest they experience time differently, perhaps reliving memories in stasis. Hisuian records from the ancient past show crude prototypes, wooden spheres etched with runes, but even modern science in the Pokémon labs offers no formal breakdown. Fans have pored over this since the anime's first episodes, debating if it's ethical or if there's a hidden cost. You toss a ball, and in that instant, what worlds do you glimpse? It's the kind of riddle that lulls you into contemplation, your mind wandering through the possibilities. Now let's unearth the lost civilizations that time forgot. The ruins of Alph in Johto brim with an unknown script, unknown letters leaking from their own pocket dimension, forming shapes that hint at a scholarly people, long gone. Sinnoh ruins blend myths from distant lands, a crossroads of cultures now silent. In Unova's relic castle and Hisui's ancient settlements, you find evidence of advanced societies that tamed legendaries or harnessed energies we can barely fathom. Were they wiped out by cataclysms, or did they ascend to another plane? Early fan theories exploded after Heart Gold, with maps drawn by hand connecting dots across regions, sparking debates that feel like treasure hunts. Imagine sifting through sand for relics under a full moon. Doesn't it draw you in? That sense of touching history's edge? Reproduction among legendaries adds another layer of intrigue. Most, like Mewtwo or Rayquaza, produce no eggs in the modern era, standing as eternal solitaries. Yet Manaphy and Fireny break the mold, their Seadrift evolutions suggesting ancient lineages. Protoforms, from paradox beasts to totemic guardians in regional tales, imply that once these beings bred in vast populations, shaping the world's dawn. Fans theorized this after Emerald's battle frontier, questioning if legends are immortals or fading remnants of a fertile past. What if your favourite legendary once had a family tree as sprawling as any wild herd? It's a thought that settles softly, inviting dreams of primordial forests teeming with divine offspring. Energies like mega evolution, Z-power and terrestrial phenomena locked to specific regions, their origins shrouded in crystal remnants and fossil whispers. These aren't random powers, but echoes of a primal force, expressed differently across eras. Stones that awaken hidden potential, moves that channel life force, gems that refract types. Prehistoric ubiquity suggests they were once commonplace, perhaps the key to those missing civilizations. Debates raged in the XY era, with fans linking them to Arceus's plates, wondering if they're natural evolutions or artificial boosts. You feel the surge in battle. Now imagine its source, a cosmic pulse binding all Pokémon. It's mesmerizing, isn't it? That pull toward understanding the unseen currents. Finally, the boundary between humans and Pokémon. Could we share the same roots? The Canalave Library's dusty tomes claim we were once one, separated by time's cruel hand. Kadabra's IQ tests mirror human intellect. Mr. Mime mimics our gestures with eerie precision, and anomalies like Ingo's subway echoes blur the divide. Legends abound of humans transforming into Pokémon, or vice versa, in rituals gone awry. Genetic whispers tie Mew to our own origins, fueling theories that trainers are evolved kin, not conquerors. This idea captivated fans from the start, post-Red, with stories of hybrid beings in fanfic that echoed official lore. What if you, listening now, carry a spark of that ancient unity? It's a mystery that hums with possibility, soothing yet profound. These 10 enigmas, from creation hierarchies and dimensional rifts to ghostly essences, Poké Ball secrets, lost worlds, legendary births, primal energies, and our shared ancestry, form the heart of Pokémon's unsolved allure. They've sparked debates that span generations, turning casual players into lore scholars, all while inviting you to relax into the wonder. Each one teases a reality where myth isn't distant but intertwined with the everyday, where capture means connection to the infinite. As your eyelids grow heavy, let these questions linger like a gentle fog, guiding your thoughts through the night. But before we fade into slumber, there's one mystery that pulls at the edges of our world like a tear in the fabric of existence. Up next, in Ultra Beasts from the Void, we'll plunge into beings that don't belong. Creatures from alternate dimensions that crash into ours with biology as alien as their motives. What drives them to cross the breach, and are they invaders or harbingers of something far worse? You won't want to miss uncovering the Void's secrets. Ultra Beasts from the Void. In the vast tapestry of the Pokémon world, few phenomena unsettle the foundations of what we know, like the arrival of the Ultra Beasts. These enigmatic entities didn't just emerge from hidden forests or ancient ruins. They tore through the fabric of reality itself, spilling into our dimension from realms beyond comprehension. Picture this: a sudden rift in the sky over Alola, crackling with otherworldly light, and out pours a creature like Nihilego, its gelatinous form pulsing with bioluminescent veins that defy any natural evolution. What makes them truly terrifying isn't their power alone, but the fact that they operate on rules our world never wrote. You see, Ultra Beasts aren't your typical Pokémon, the kind that bond with trainers or roam wild in predictable patterns. They're invaders from Ultra Space, a chaotic network of alternate dimensions where physics bends and breaks. First documented during the events in Alola, these beings arrived through wormholes, drawn perhaps by some unseen hunger or instinct. Kartana, for instance, slices through steel like paper with its origami-like body, unfolding into razor-sharp edges that no terrestrial biology could sustain without shattering. It's not born from eggs or raised in nests. It's assembled from the void, a living paradox that challenges everything we assume about Pokémon origins. How does something like that even exist? Their biology screams alien, with cellular structures that incorporate exotic matter, glowing with energies that scanners in the Ether Foundation could barely register. While regular Pokémon draw from elemental forces like fire or water, Ultra Beasts seem to feed on the very essence of dimensions, their forms adapting not through generations of evolution, but through instantaneous reconfiguration. Take Buzzwole, that hulking, mosquito-esque brute with muscles swollen to absurd proportions. In our world, a Pokémon's physique is honed by environment and survival, but Buzzwole's veins throb with a crimson glow that's more like liquid starlight than blood. Researchers in Alola noted how it doesn't breathe air in the conventional sense. Instead, it absorbs ambient ultra wormhole energy, sustaining itself on the chaos of interdimensional travel. This isn't just weird, it's a violation of norms. Pokémon like Machamp build strength through training and battles, but Buzzwole arrives pre-forged, as if sculpted by the pressures of a reality where gravity flips and time loops endlessly. You have to wonder, as you lie there listening to this, if encountering one wouldn't feel like staring into an abyss that stares back, its presence warping the air around it with static bursts of purple light. And then there's the behaviour, pure, unbridled chaos that sets them apart from even the most feral of our world's creatures. Ultra Beasts don't form packs or hierarchies. They rampage with a single-minded frenzy, as if the very act of existing in our dimension drives them mad. Pheromosa, the elegant yet deadly speedster, darts through battlefields with legs like porcelain blades, but its movements aren't graceful. They're erratic, teleporting in micro-jumps that leave after-images flickering like faulty holograms. Eyewitness accounts from Ultra Megalopolis describe how these beings ignore commands, even from their own kind, lashing out at anything that moves. It's not aggression born of territory or hunger, it's disorientation, a clash of worlds where their instincts scream to consume, to merge, to escape. In one infamous incident, a horde led by Guzzlord, that gaping maw on legs devouring buildings whole, tore through a town, not for food, but to stabilise the rift they emerged from. Guzzlord's stomach isn't a digestive organ, it's a black hole simulator, pulling in matter and energy to fuel its endless displacement. You can almost hear the low rumble of its approach in your mind, the ground trembling as it swallows light itself. This chaotic nature ties directly into their energy signatures, those invisible threads that puzzle scientists to this day. When an Ultra Beast manifests, it emits pulses of hyperdimensional radiation, detectable only by specialized Pokédex upgrades or ether tech. These signatures aren't stable like the aura of a Charizard's flame. They're wild, oscillating between frequencies that could fry electronics or induce hallucinations in nearby trainers. Think about it. While Pikachu's electricity is harnessed and predictable, an Ultra Beast's energy leaks into the environment, causing reality glitches, flowers blooming in reverse, shadows detaching from their owners. In Alola's records, prolonged exposure to these signatures led to wormhole sickness, where victims reported visions of fractured worlds, endless voids dotted with floating islands. Is this energy a byproduct of their biology, or the very force that propels them across dimensions? The debate rages in hushed academic circles, but one thing's clear: it's not Pokémon energy. No Ditto could mimic it, no Mewtwo replicate it. It's alien, raw, and dangerously seductive, drawing in curious minds like moths to a flame. But here's where it gets really unsettling. Are Ultra Beasts even Pokémon at all? We've grown up classifying everything from Bulbasaur to Zygarde under that umbrella, creatures with Poké Balls in mind, evolutions tied to stones or trades. Yet Ultra Beasts resist capture in ways that mock our systems. They phase through barriers, their forms destabilizing the conversion matrix of a Poké Ball, leaving trainers with empty spheres humming with residual static. In the games we catch them, sure, but lore-wise it's a temporary tether, like chaining a storm cloud. Their DNA, if you can call it that, shows no markers matching known species, no shared ancestry with the starters or legendaries. Instead, analyses reveal fractal patterns, self-replicating code that suggests they're constructs, perhaps engineered in ultra-space or born from cosmic anomalies. You might ask yourself, listening to the quiet night around you, if labeling them as Pokémon is just our way of coping, forcing the unknown into a familiar box. What if they're harbingers, scouts from a multiverse, where Pokémon are the invaders and we're the oddity? Diving deeper into their mystery, the dimension-hopping aspect reveals layers of peril we can scarcely grasp. Ultra-space isn't a single place, it's a labyrinth of pocket realities, accessed via portals that flicker open like wounds in the sky. These wormholes, first harnessed by the Ether Foundation's experiments, aren't natural doorways. They're tiers, unstable and prone to widening. Nihiligo's arrival in Alola wasn't isolated, it coincided with seismic anomalies, as if the Beast Passage stressed our world's barriers. Scientists theorize that each hop releases quanta of exotic particles, eroding the veil between dimensions. Imagine the implications: a portal destabilizing near your hometown, pulling in not just beasts, but echoes of alternate timelines. Ghostly Pokémon that never were, or worse, voids that swallow landscapes whole. In hushed reports from the Ultra Recon Squad, guardians like Lucamine's operatives described how these rifts pulse with the beast's collective energy, a symphony of chaos that could unravel reality thread by thread. Consider the evidence from multiple incursions. During the Ultra Beast's major outbreak, circuitry slithered from a rift in the Pony Wilds, its tendril-like body crackling with electricity drawn not from thunderclouds, but from the wormhole's electromagnetic flux. It didn't attack indiscriminately, it anchored itself, feeding the portal, as if ensuring more of its kind could follow. This behaviour hints at a larger agenda, perhaps a migration driven by their home dimension's collapse, or an invasion to claim resources our world unwittingly offers. Energy signatures recorded during these events spiked to levels that mimicked legendary summonings, like Rayquaza's ozone roar, but inverted, pulling instead of pushing. And the destabilization? It's not theoretical. Post-incident surveys in Alola showed microfractures in the earth, places where gravity dips and compasses spin wildly, remnants of ultra-space bleeding through. If these portals keep opening, unchecked, what stops a full merger? Our Pokémon thriving in harmony, suddenly competing with invaders who rewrite the rules of existence. Yet amidst the fear, there's a strange allure to the Ultra Beasts. Their bizarre biology offers glimpses of possibilities beyond our evolution chains. Celesteela, that rocket-like colossus, propels itself on solar flares, harvested from its own metallic hide. Defying aerodynamics as it soars through atmospheres it wasn't built for. In our world, flying types like Pidgeot rely on wings and wind. Celesteela warps space around it, creating thrust from nothingness. This isn't just adaptation, it's mastery of the void, a biology evolved in zero-gravity expanses where matter floats free. You can feel the thrill of discovery here, can't you? The way their forms challenge us to rethink categories, to question if Pokémon are defined by our world or something grander, spanning infinities. Their chaotic behaviour, too, carries echoes of deeper intelligence. Stakataka, the floating fortress of boulders, doesn't move with purpose. It absorbs and reconfigures, stacking debris into mobile monoliths that mimic ruins from forgotten eras. Is this instinct, or a rudimentary building urge, hinting at civilizations in ultraspace? Energy readings from such encounters show harmonic resonances, like a choir of discordant notes, suggesting communication across rifts. Perhaps they're calling to kin or warning us away. The uncertainty fuels endless speculation. If they're not Pokémon, what are they? Parasites on the multiverse? Refugees from Cataclysm? The question lingers, pulling you deeper into the lore's embrace. As we peel back these layers, the dimension-hopping mystery intensifies. Portals don't just appear, they're summoned by fluctuations in Z-power or the emotional turmoil of trainers meddling with legendaries like Necrozma. That light-devouring prism, intertwined with ultraspace, absorbs the beast's energies, growing stronger, hinting at a symbiotic link. Destabilization manifests subtly at first. Mirages in the desert, time-lost echoes in caves, but escalates to cataclysms. In one apocryphal tale from Alolan elders, an unchecked rift swallowed an entire island, spitting it back years later, overgrown with alien flora, patrolled by hybrid beasts that blurred lines between worlds. Our reality, once stable under Arceus' gaze, now frays at the edges, portals winking open in dreams and storms alike. What does this mean for us, the trainers and wanderers? Ultra beasts force a reckoning. Their biology mocks our understanding. Their chaos disrupts our peace. Their energies whisper of threats unbound. They're not invaders by choice, perhaps, but by necessity, and in questioning their nature, we question our own place in the cosmos. Are they the key to new frontiers, or the harbingers of unravelling? As these thoughts settle over you, like a veil of night stars, prepare to shift your gaze to another enigma that hits closer to home, one that transforms the very idea of identity in the Pokémon world. In the next chapter, we'll uncover Ditto's enigmatic birth, a puzzle so slippery it might just mimic the answers we're seeking. Ditto's enigmatic birth. Every Ditto you encounter in the Pokémon world carries the same genetic blueprint, identical down to the last strand of DNA. No variations, no mutations, just a perfect uniformity that sets it apart from every other species. It's as if they were all stamped from the same mould, copies of a single original. But how does something like that even happen in a world bursting with biodiversity? Let's peel back the layers on this pink, jelly-like enigma and uncover what makes Ditto's birth story one of the most unsettling mysteries in Pokémon lore. Picture yourself in a quiet meadow, watching a wild Ditto do what it does best: transform. It wobbles into view, that simple, amorphous blob, and suddenly shifts into a perfect replica of a nearby Pidgey or a fearsome Raiden. The mimicry is flawless, right down to the movements and cries. Yet there's always that one giveaway. that unshakable tell. No matter what it becomes, Ditto retains its original mass. A tiny Ditto can't balloon into a massive onyx without some awkward stretching or compressing that defies logic. And those eyes, those wide, innocent, unblinking eyes, stay exactly the same, peeking out from whatever form it's taken. It's like a glitch in the Matrix, a reminder that the illusion isn't quite complete. Why these limits? Why not go all the way to perfection? Trainers have debated this for years, but the answer might lie deeper, in the very code that defines Ditto's existence. Think about it. In a universe where Pokémon evolve and adapt through generations, Ditto stands alone as a genetic singleton. Every other creature shows some diversity, subtle differences in coloration, size, or even abilities that hint at natural selection at work. But Dittos? They're clones of clones, all pulling from the same unchanging pool. Scientists in the Pokémon world, those rare few who study this stuff without getting lost in tall grass, have run tests. Blood samples, energy scans, you name it. The results are always the same, one genome replicated endlessly. This uniformity isn't just odd, it's impossible under normal evolutionary rules. It suggests Ditto didn't arise from nature's slow grind. Instead, it points to something engineered, deliberate, and that brings us to the shadows of Sinnoh Island, where the real horrors begin to unfold. Sinnoh Island isn't just a hotspot for surfing Pikachu or volcanic hikes. Beneath its sunny facade lies a network of abandoned laboratories, relics from an era when human ambition pushed too far into the unknown. These facilities, now overgrown with vines and echoing with the drip of forgotten pipes, were once the heart of Pokémon research in Kanto. But after a catastrophic incident, whispers call it the Sinnoh incident, everything shut down. Doors sealed, records burned, and the island's reputation turned from innovation to infamy. Venture inside those crumbling halls today, and you'll find shattered glass tubes, faded blueprints, and journals half-eaten by Rattata. It's in these pages that Ditto's origins start to take shape, linking back to the most elusive Pokémon of all. Mew. Mew, the ancestor of all Pokémon, or so the legends say. That tiny psychic kitten holds the genetic key to every creature on the planet. Researchers on Sinnoh dreamed of unlocking that potential, of creating new life from Mew's DNA. They succeeded in part capturing samples during expeditions to Guyana's jungles, where Mew was first sighted. But cloning, that's where it all went wrong. The labs buzzed with activity in the late 20th century, machines humming as they tried to replicate Mew's miraculous adaptability. Early experiments birthed anomalies, unstable forms that shifted uncontrollably, collapsing into puddles of protoplasm. Notes from lead scientist Dr. Fuji describe it vividly. Subjects that mimicked lab equipment one moment, then dissolved into screaming masses the next. Ethical lines blurred as they pushed harder, injecting serums into captured Pokémon, forcing transformations that no creature should endure. One entry stands out, yellowed and smudged, but legible if you squint in the dim light. It talks of Project Ditto, a code name for their final push. They aimed to create a Pokémon that could embody Mew's transformation gene without the full power. Something controllable, useful for breeders or battles, but the clones rebelled against their design. Most failed spectacularly, their cells rebelling in grotesque displays, limbs twisting into impossible shapes, eyes multiplying across gelatinous hides. The survivors? They stabilized into what we know as Ditto, pink, pliable, and forever marked by their imperfect origins. Those retained mass and eyes, not flaws but safeguards. The mass conservation prevents overload. Without it, a Ditto could expand indefinitely, consuming everything in a rampage of unchecked growth. The eyes, though, they're the window to the soul, or, in this case, the lingering trace of Mew's psychic essence, unalterable to remind us of the hubris involved. You can almost feel the chill in those labs, can't you? The air thick with the scent of ozone and regret, as scientists realised they'd birthed something that echoed their own nightmares. Ditto wasn't just a failed clone, it was a warning. Persistent theories circulating among lore-keepers and underground forums suggest Ditto is no natural Pokémon at all, but a man-made anomaly, the scarred remnant of tampering with creation itself. Echoes of ethical nightmares abound, stories of test subjects that weren't just Pokémon, but perhaps even human volunteers, their essences warped into this formless state. Is that why Ditto seems so passive, so devoid of aggression? A built-in docility to prevent another disaster? Or is it trauma encoded in that uniform DNA, a collective memory of the lab's horrors? Let's dive deeper into those transformation limits, because they're not just quirks, they're clues to Ditto's fractured soul. When a Ditto transforms, it's using a process called reconstitute, borrowing the physical and even some abilities of its target. But that mass retention, it's physics wrapped in mystery. A Ditto weighing about 8.8 pounds can't suddenly become a 200-pound mushamp without compressing parts of itself, leading to those telltale bulges or hollow spots in its disguise. Trainers exploit this in battles, spotting the imposter by feel alone. And the eyes, oh those eyes, they glow with a faint psychic light, a nod to Mew's heritage. In rare cases documented in Johto field reports, a Ditto's eyes have betrayed it during high-stress transformations, flickering back to their original form mid-fight. It's as if the disguise is a fragile mask, cracking under pressure. But why stop at battles? Consider the implications for breeding. Ditto's role as the ultimate egg partner stems from this same genetic uniformity. It can produce offspring of almost any species, yet its own kind never evolves or diversifies. No baby Dittos hatching with new traits, no regional variants scurrying about. This sterility in variation fuels the cloning theory even more. If Dittos were born of artificial means, their DNA might be locked, incapable of the mutations that drive evolution. Imagine the loneliness of that. An entire species, adrift without lineage, echoing the isolation of those cinnabar vats where they were first born. Now tie this back to Mew and the puzzle sharpens. Genetic scans leaked from Cerulean City's archives show Ditto's DNA as a stripped-down version of Mew's. Missing the full arsenal of moves, the boundless energy, but retaining the core transformation helix. It's like a photocopy of a masterpiece, faded and incomplete. Failed cloning horrors? Absolutely. Dr. Fuji's notes hint at dozens of subjects lost to instability, Pokémon that transformed once and never reverted, trapped in hybrid agonies. One chilling account describes a cloned Eevee that became a Ditto-like blob, its evolutions frozen in perpetual flux. The lab's downfall came when these creations escaped, scattering across the regions. That's why you'll find wild Dittos in the most unexpected places. Safari zones, hidden caves, even urban alleys. They're refugees from an experiment gone awry. Their uniform genetics, a badge of survival. The ethical nightmares don't end there. Pokémon creation has always danced on a knife's edge. Think of the Mewtwo project, another Cinnabar offshoot, where ambition birthed rage. Ditto represents the quieter tragedy. Not a super weapon, but a tool that outlived its purpose. Theories persist that some Dittos retain faint memories of the labs, manifesting in odd behaviours. Ever seen a Ditto curl up in a corner, mimicking lab equipment? Or refuse to transform near fire types? Perhaps recalling the incinerators used to dispose of failures? It's speculative, sure, but it humanises these blobs, turning them from novelties to survivors. What if Ditto's placid nature hides a deeper sorrow, a genetic echo of the screams in those abandoned halls? As we sift through the dust of Cinnabar's secrets, one question lingers. If Ditto is indeed a product of human folly, what does that say about our role in the Pokémon world? Are we creators or destroyers? The uniform genetics, the transformation limits, they're not just biological curiosities, they're scars from a time when science played God. And those eyes, always watching, always the same, seem to ask us to look closer, to question the cost of our curiosities. But if Ditto's birth shakes the foundations of what we think we know about Pokémon origins, wait until you hear about the entity said to have started it all. Up next in Chapter 4, Arceus and the Creation Enigma, we'll explore the godlike being whose very existence challenges every myth and legend you've ever heard, preparing you for revelations that could rewrite the stars themselves. Arceus and the Creation Enigma. In the heart of the Sinnoh region, ancient scrolls whisper of a being that predates the stars themselves. Arceus, the alpha Pokémon, stands as the cornerstone of creation, a force so immense it shaped the very fabric of existence from nothingness. But what if I told you that this story, revered across generations, might not be the whole truth? Let's dive into the enigma that surrounds Arceus and question everything you thought you knew about the Pokémon world's origins. Picture the Sinnoh myths as they unfold in the dim glow of Mount Coronet, where elders once gathered to recite tales etched into stone tablets. According to these legends, before there was light or shadow, before the seas churned or the winds howled, there was only Arceus. It emerged from the void, a singular entity of pure potential, often depicted as a majestic white stallion, with a golden wheel of life spinning at its back. This wheel, you see, isn't just ornament, it's said to hold the plates that represent the 18 types of Pokémon, channeling Arceus' power to forge reality itself. In a moment of divine will, Arceus shed parts of its essence, birthing the pillars of the universe. First came Dialga, the temporal Pokémon, guardian of time. Forged from Arceus' heart, Dialga's metallic blue body echoes the relentless tick of eternity, its roars said to summon the flow of seconds, minutes, and ages. Without Dialga, time would unravel like a frayed thread, leaving chaos in its wake. Then, in perfect balance, Arceus created Palkia, the spatial Pokémon, master of space. Pink and pearl-like, with arms that stretch across dimensions, Palkia was born from Arceus' mind, its presence ensuring that the world doesn't collapse into a single point or expand into oblivion. Legends claim that Palkia's breath can warp distances, turning a mountain into a mere step, or hiding entire cities in folds of reality. Together, Dialga and Palkia form the cosmic duo that stabilizes existence, but Arceus wasn't done. From its wrath, or perhaps a necessary shadow, came Giratina, the renegade Pokémon, ruler of the antimatter realm known as the Distortion World. Banished for its violent nature, Giratina lurks in a twisted mirror of our world, where gravity flips and logic bends. This trio, Dialga for time, Palkia for space, Giratina for the unseen opposites, establishes a hierarchy that's as elegant as it is terrifying. Arceus at the apex, overseeing all, with its creations as enforcers of order. It's a mythology that paints the Pokémon universe as a deliberate design. Every Pokémon, every trainer, every battle a thread in Arceus' grand tapestry. You might be wondering, how do we even know these stories? They come from the Sinnoh region's core texts, like the lustrous globe and adamant orb, artifacts that pulse with otherworldly energy. In the games, when you summon Arceus in the Hall of Origin, it feels real. The air thickens, the screen shimmers as if the veil between worlds thins. Trainers who've claimed to witness it describe a hum that vibrates in your bones, a sense that you're standing before something eternal. But here's where the enigma begins to crack. If Arceus is the unchallenged creator, why do other regions tell wildly different tales of Genesis? Why does the Pokémon world seem to fracture under the weight of these conflicting cosmologies? Let's turn our gaze to Kalos, the region of elegance and eternal beauty, where the myths revolve not around a singular god, but a cycle of life and destruction. In the ancient lore of Lumiose City, etched into the walls of Geosenge, we find no mention of Arceus as the prime mover. Instead, the creation story hinges on Xerneas, the life Pokémon, and Yveltal, the destruction Pokémon. These two are said to have emerged from the dawn of time, locked in an endless dance. Xerneas, with its radiant antlers that bloom with vitality, grants life to the barren earth, painting the world in colours of growth and renewal. Yveltal, cloaked in crimson wings, absorbs that life back into itself when the cycle demands it, folding energy into a cocoon of dormancy. Their legend ties into the ultimate weapon, forged by a king desperate to defy death during a great war. This weapon, powered by a massive energy core, unleashed devastation that scarred Kalos forever. But it also hints at a universe born from duality, not a lone creator's whim. What about the role of Mew in all this? Kalos myths often elevate Mew as the ancestor of all Pokémon, a playful genetic marvel hidden in the jungles, its DNA a blueprint for every creature that followed. There's no cosmic hierarchy here, no Dialga ticking away the epochs, just a bubbling pot of evolution, where life sprouts from a single, mischievous source. Researchers in Lever City pore over fossils and psychic imprints, arguing that Mew's transformative powers suggest a more organic origin story, one where creation is messy, adaptive, and devoid of divine plates or banished shadows. If Sinnoh positions Arceus as the architect, Kalos flips the script, implying a world that self-assembles through cycles of give and take. You can almost hear the scholars debating in candlelit libraries. Does Arceus fit into this at all? Or is it a Sinnoh-specific overlay on a broader, more chaotic truth? Now venture further back in time to Hisui, the ancient precursor to Sinnoh itself, as revealed in the Tales of Legends, Arceus. Here the myths take on a raw, primal edge, coloured by the struggles of early settlers. In Hisuian lore, Arceus appears not as an abstract deity, but as a tangible force intertwined with the land's spirits. The noble Pokémon, like Kleavor and Hisuian Lilligant, are revered as divine envoys, their frenzied states blamed on a rift caused by human ambition, much like the space-time distortions that plague the region. But the creation narrative? It's fragmented, pieced together from cave paintings in the Obsidian Fieldlands and oral histories passed by the Diamond and Pearl clans. Arceus is acknowledged, yes, but its birth of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina feels secondary to a story of noble beasts shaping the world through primal energies. Consider the Hisuian variants, Pokémon like Typhlosion, now ghostly and ethereal, or Samurott with its savage blades. These aren't just aesthetic changes, they're retellings of evolution, influenced by ancient environments, suggesting that the cosmic hierarchy isn't fixed but malleable, shaped by regional forces. In one chilling account from the Celestica Trail, Arceus is depicted as fleeing a great calamity, its plate shattered, forcing it to remake the world imperfectly. This contrasts sharply with Sinnoh's pristine origin myth, where creation is orderly and complete. Historians in Jubilife village argue that Hisui's legends point to multiple creation events, perhaps Arceus as a recurring restorer rather than an original spark. It's as if each region has filtered the same cosmic event through its own cultural lens, turning a singular truth into a mosaic of interpretations. You have to ask yourself, are these just stories adapted for local audiences, or do they reveal that the Pokémon universe isn't built on one cosmology, but a web of overlapping realities? This regional divergence raises profound questions about the nature of truth in the Pokémon world. Take the Sinnoh ruins, a mysterious site straddling Sinnoh and Johto, where Arceus is said to have clashed with forces from other realms. Artifacts there blend myths, showing Arceus alongside unknown script that defies translation, hinting at influences from beyond our world. Yet in Kalas's AZ ruins, the focus shifts to human intervention in creation, with the king's eternal life machine echoing themes of defiance against natural cycles that Yveltal enforces without needing a higher god's permission. And in Hisui, the emphasis on human Pokémon bonds during creation suggests Arceus might be less a distant creator and more a symbol of harmony, invoked when balance falters. So, is Arceus a literal god, an omnipotent being that still watches from the Hall of Origin? Or is it a symbolic force, a metaphor for the interconnectedness of all things? Debates rage among Pokémon lore experts, from the scholars of the Pokémon League to online forums buzzing late into the night. Some point to in-game events, like the summoning rituals in Platinum, or the movie depictions where Arceus' anger nearly unravels time itself, as proof of its divinity. Imagine the stakes. If Arceus is real, every type plate it wields could reshape battles, regions, even destinies. Trainers who've bonded with it describe visions of the universe's birth, a blinding light that leaves you humbled, questioning your place in the chain. Others argue it's symbolic, a cultural construct to explain the unexplainable. Why else would its appearances be so rare, tied to cataclysmic events? In the anime, Arceus' role often serves as a moral compass, punishing hubris, but never intervening in daily life. Geneticists studying Mewtwo's creation draw parallels, suggesting Arceus represents the pinnacle of Pokémon potential, not a supernatural entity. And consider the plates. Are they literal artifacts or emblems of type diversity that humans attributed to a creator to make sense of chaos? The revelation hits hard. Arceus might be the ultimate progenitor in Sinnoh's eyes, but across the world, it's an enigma that challenges us to blend faith and science. What if the true creation story is one we co-author, piecing together myths like a puzzle with missing edges? Delve deeper, and you'll find anecdotes that blur the lines even further. In the Sinnoh games, Cyrus of Team Galactic seeks to remake the universe in his image, echoing Arceus' creative act, but twisted by human flaws. He summons Dialga and Palkia, proving their power is real, yet his failure underscores that no one, not even a genius, can usurp the hierarchy without consequence. In contrast, Kalas's Lysandra dreams of purging imperfection with the ultimate weapon, invoking Yveltal's destructive side. But his plan crumbles, reinforcing the cycle's inevitability. Hisuian tales of Volo, obsessed with encountering Arceus, reveal a man driven mad by the quest for ultimate truth, his betrayal highlighting how these myths drive us to extremes. These stories aren't just lore, they're warnings. They make you ponder. If Arceus birthed the guardians of time and space, why do distortions still plague us? Why do regional legends clash so fiercely? Perhaps the enigma lies in acceptance that the Pokémon world thrives on multiplicity, not uniformity. As you listen to these tales, feel the pull of curiosity, the thrill of uncovering layers that trainers before you chased across continents. Arceus isn't just a Pokémon, it's a mirror reflecting our own search for meaning in a vast, wondrous universe. But if creation's foundations are this shaky, what happens when time and space themselves begin to fracture? Up next, in Chapter 5, Fractures in Time and Space, we'll explore the paradoxes that tear at the edges of reality, from the distortion world to branching timelines that could rewrite everything you know. You won't want to miss how these rifts challenge the very order Arceus supposedly established. Fractures in Time and Space. Have you ever wondered why the Pokémon world feels like it's constantly rewriting its own rules? In places like the distortion world of Sinnoh, reality itself cracks open, revealing a realm where gravity pulls sideways, up is down, and the laws of physics twist into impossible shapes. This isn't just a glitch in the game, it's a deliberate fracture in time and space, a hint that the universe Pokémon inhabits is far more fragile and multifaceted than any Pokédex entry lets on. As we dive into these fractures, you'll start to see how they connect regions, legends, and even the very timeline of the games themselves, pulling you deeper into a mystery that questions everything you thought you knew about continuity. Let's start in Sinnoh, where the distortion world stands as the ultimate example of spatial chaos. Accessed through portals that shimmer like heat haze over a battlefield, this anti-dimension was born from the eternal grudge of Giratina, the renegade Pokémon cast out by Arceus for its violent nature. Here, platforms float without support, colours invert, and time seems to loop in on itself. Remember battling through it in Platinum. Every step defies logic, walls become floors, and the air feels thick with unspoken rebellion. But what if this isn't just Giratina's prison? What if it's a glimpse into the raw seams holding the Pokémon multiverse together? Scientists in the lore, like those studying at the Sinnoh Research Lab, describe it as a place where positive and negative energies collide, creating paradoxes that bleed into our world. Portals to the distortion world have been spotted near Stark Mountain, and even in dream sequences, suggesting these fractures aren't isolated. They're leaks, tiny rips where alternate realities press against our own, waiting to spill over. Now shift your gaze to Johto, where time fractures take on a greener, more mystical hue. Celebi, the time travel Pokémon, guards the Ilex forest with an aura that bends chronology like a river diverted mid-flow. Legends say Celebi can whisk trainers back to witness the past or glimpse futures, yet unwritten, but it's the subtle distortions around its shrines that intrigue me most. In Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you encounter Celebi through events that feel eerily personal, as if the forest itself remembers your journey. But dig deeper into the lore, and you'll find reports of temporal echoes, trees blooming out of season, Pokémon acting as if they've lived your battles before. These aren't random, they're signs of splintered timelines, where Celebi's interventions create branches that diverge from the main path. Imagine standing in that shrine, feeling a chill as whispers of what could have been brush past you. It's not just time travel, it's time fracturing, leaving behind echoes that ripple across regions. And speaking of ripples, let's cross oceans to Paldea, where the Scarlet and Violet games introduce the Paradox Pokémon, ancient and future variants that scream of timeline sabotage. The great crater of Paldea hides an otherworldly lab, Area Zero, where time and space have been punctured by experiments gone awry. Here, physics bends in ways that make the distortion world look tame. Dinosaur-like beasts from a prehistoric era roam alongside futuristic machines that defy evolution. Take the paradox forms of familiar Pokémon, roaring behemoths with iron hides, or sleek cybernetic predators. They're not just redesigns, they're invaders from splintered realities, pulled through rifts that warp the very fabric of existence. Professor Sada and Turo's research into infinite energy open these doors, but at what cost? The crater's depths pulse with unstable energies, causing mirages where past and future overlap. You might spot a wooloo grazing next to what looks like a robotic ancestor, or hear echoes of battles from eras long gone. These fractures map a world where space isn't a straight line, but a web, with Paldea's anomalies as the knots tying it all together. But here's where it gets personal for you as a fan. Have you noticed how Celebi and Suicune tie these fractures across games and regions? In Scarlet and Violet, their appearances aren't coincidental. Celebi, ever the guardian of time, manifests in events that echo Johto's forests, but with a Paldean twist, its body shimmering as if caught between eras. Suicune, the Northwind Pokémon, pursues purity through auroras that cleanse distortions. Yet in these new games, its form hints at variants shaped by branching realities. Picture Suicune dashing through Area Zero, its crystalline mane reflecting futures not yet set, or Celebi flitting between timelines to prevent paradoxes from swallowing whole regions. These legendary beasts aren't solitary, they're threads weaving the multiverse. In Johto, Suicune roams the Tin Tower, mending spatial tears left by human folly. In Sinnoh, its essence resonates with the Lake Guardians, stabilizing time flows. And in Paldea, their forms imply adaptations to these fractures, subtle evolutions or manifestations that suggest realities forking like lightning. Celebi's playful dances now carry the weight of infinite possibilities, while Suicune's gaze seems to pierce veils between worlds. You can't help but wonder, are they fixing the brakes, or are they the cause forever chasing their own echoes? As we piece this together, the fractures start to form a larger pattern, one that stretches beyond single regions into the heart of Pokémon storytelling. Consider the spatial anomalies in Hone, where the Sky Pillar summons Rayquaza to seal rifts between sea and sky, preventing Devonian disasters from repeating. Or in Unova, where the giant chasm hides Reshiram and Zekrom, dragons born from a king's fractured ideals, their lairs warping space to reflect ideological splits. Even in Gala, the Darkest Day event cracks open temporal barriers, summoning Eternatus to unleash energy storms that blend past calamities with present threats. These aren't isolated incidents, they're a map of distortions, each one a point where physics bends and timelines splinter. In the paradoxical world of Paldea, that crater's core, everything converges. Ancient paradox. Pokémon claw from prehistoric branches, future ones phase in from mechanical timelines, all thanks to those rifts. It's like the universe is a vast, cracked mirror, and every game gives you a shard to peer through. You might be thinking, okay, that's wild, but how does this change the way the Pokémon canon? Hold on to that thought, because the real twist comes when you realise the games themselves are evidence of these fractures. Pokémon's history is riddled with soft reboots, new regions that retcon just enough to feel fresh, yet echo the old. Think about it. Gold and Silver revisit Kanto with a matured cast, but timelines shift subtly, as if Ash's journey branched into something new. Diamond and Pearl build on that with Sinnoh's myths, yet ignore prior events in ways that suggest parallel worlds. Then Legends. Arceus rewrites Hisui's history, introducing space-time rifts that explicitly splinter the canon. Scarlet and Violet take it further, with multiverse invaders confirming that continuity isn't linear. It's a multiverse, a web of timelines, where every reboot is a fracture mended or widened. No more head-scratching over inconsistencies. They're intentional, pointing to a canon that's alive, evolving, and forever altered by these bends in reality. Your favourite games? They're not separate stories. They're glimpses into branches you could step into with the right Celebi encounter. Let's linger on that for a moment, because it reshapes how you experience the series. Imagine replaying Heart Gold, but now knowing Suicune's pursuits aren't just chases, they're efforts to align splintered paths across Johto and beyond. Or exploring Paldea's wilds, feeling the thrill of potential paradoxes lurking in every shadow. These fractures invite you to question, what if your playthrough created a tiny branch? What if that missed legendary sighting echoed in another timeline? The distortion world isn't distant. It's the undercurrent explaining why Mewtwo's origin in Kanto feels worlds apart from Mew's in Hoenn, or why Arceus' creation myth varies by region. It's all connected through these spatial tiers, where physics doesn't just bend, it shatters expectations. Diving deeper into the mechanics, consider how these fractures affect Pokémon themselves. In the distortion world, ghost types phase through barriers that would trap anything else, hinting at their attunement to fractured spaces. Celebi's encounters often involve berries from futures not yet planted, a direct nod to temporal splintering. Suicune, with its ability to purify tainted waters, extends to cleansing distorted energies, as seen in its crystal appearances, where it mends environmental rifts tied to time anomalies. Across games, regional forms amplify this. Hisuian variants in Legends. Arceus show evolutions influenced by unstable spacetime, like the noble Zoroark's illusions mimicking alternate realities. Even common Pokémon exhibit it. Pidgey-flocks in Paldea sometimes flock in patterns that defy wind currents, as if pulled by invisible timeline currents. But the implications go further, touching on human elements too. Trainers like Cynthia in Sinnoh speak of Legends guarding against worlds colliding, her own Garchomp trained to navigate distorted terrains. In Paldea, the Elite Four reference ancient texts warning of fractures swallowing civilizations, tying back to those missing Pokémon societies we'll explore later. You, as the player, become the variable, the one who seals or widens these rifts through choices. Beat the Distortion World boss. You've stabilized a branch. Ignore a Celebi event. A splinter forms, altering unseen paths. It's meta, immersive, and downright eerie, making every save file feel like a universe unto itself. As these ideas settle in, you can feel the Pokémon world expanding, its fractures, not flaws, but features of a grand, splintered design. The paradoxical world in Paldea encapsulates it all, a nexus where bends in physics meet timeline shards, courtesy of those dimension-hopping experiments. Celebi and Suicune stand as sentinels, their forms across games whispering of branches that span from Johto's mists to Sinnoh's peaks and Paldea's craters. And those Soft reboots, they're the proof, transforming our understanding from a straight-line story to a multiverse mosaic, rich with possibility and peril. Yet amid these temporal tears, something even more unsettling lurks in the shadows of the Pokémon world. What if some mysteries aren't about time at all, but about the restless dead? Up next, in the haunting origins of ghosts, we'll uncover the chilling truths behind spectral Pokémon, from vengeful spirits to cursed artifacts, and how they might be tied to fractures we can't even see. You won't want to miss the revelations that could make you question every ghastly you've ever caught. Before we dive deeper into this incredible journey, I'm curious, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let our global community know. And if you're finding this as mind-blowing as I am, hit that like button to help more people discover this story. The haunting origins of ghosts. Have you ever wondered if the ghosts wandering the Pokémon world are truly just another type of creature? Or if some of them carry the weight of unfinished lives from beyond the grave? In the lore of Pokémon, the ghost type stands out as one of the most enigmatic categories, blending terror with tragedy in ways that challenge everything we think we know about life and death. Let's uncover the haunting origins that make these spectral beings so profoundly unsettling. Consider Yamask, that small masked spirit whose very existence tugs at the heartstrings of even the toughest trainers. According to ancient Unavin tales passed down through generations, Yamask isn't born from thin air or some ethereal factory. It's the echo of a human soul, trapped in limbo after death. Picture this. When a person passes away, their spirit clings to the golden mask that once covered their face in mourning rituals. That mask, etched with the final expression of sorrow or pain, becomes the vessel for their essence. Yamask wanders the world, holding this relic close, and when it weeps, those tears aren't just water, they're fragments of the memories from its human life. Imagine catching a glimpse of a Yamask in a foggy graveyard at dusk, its hollow eyes staring out from behind that mask, reliving moments of joy or heartbreak that you and I can only guess at. It's not just a Pokémon, it's a reminder that death doesn't always sever the ties to the living. Trainers who bond with Yamask often report a strange empathy, as if the spirit is seeking closure through battles or quiet companionship. But why do some souls manifest this way, while others fade into nothingness? The lore leaves us hanging, fueling endless speculation about what rituals or unresolved emotions keep these echoes roaming. This idea of ghosts as remnants of the departed doesn't stop with Yamask. Take Phantump, the eerie tree stump wanderer of Colossian forests. Folklore from the shadowy woods around Lumiose City whispers that Phantump are the lost spirits of children who vanished in the wilds, their forms twisting into these bark-covered apparitions as they search eternally for the way home. These little ghosts drift through the underbrush, their branches swaying like outstretched arms, mimicking the cries of the wind to lure in the unwary, or perhaps to call out to loved ones they'll never find again. Evolve one into Trevenant, and you get a guardian of the forest, rooted in place, as if finally accepting its fate, protecting the very woods that claimed it. You can almost feel the chill of isolation in their stories, can't you? It's as if the Pokémon world is populated not just by monsters, but by tragedies frozen in time. Researchers in the Kalos region have documented sightings near old logging sites where Phantump clusters seem to reenact disappearances, their glowing eyes flickering like distant lanterns. What does this mean for us as trainers? If you're out there exploring, do you ever pause to wonder if the rustle in the leaves is just the breeze or a child's spirit pleading for recognition? Yet, not all ghost types fit this mold of mournful human echoes, and that's where the true mystery thickens. While Yamask and Phantump pull at our sense of loss, others like Rotom seem to defy any connection to the afterlife altogether. Rotom is more of an elemental force, a playful poltergeist born from raw plasma energy that infests machinery and appliances. Think about it. This ghost doesn't haunt houses out of sorrow. It zips into toasters, lawnmowers, or even refrigerators, turning everyday objects into chaotic extensions of itself. In the Sinnoh labs where it was first studied, scientists noted how Rotom's essence is tied to electricity rather than any deceased soul. It's like a living spark of mischief, unbound by mortality. No masks or lost memories here, just pure, unpredictable energy that laughs in the face of convention. You might chuckle at first, imagining Rotom joyriding in a washing machine, but dig deeper and it raises questions. If Rotom can possess tech without a hint of human tragedy, what separates it from the spirits of the dead? Is the ghost type merely a catch-all for anything supernatural, or is there a hidden spectrum we're missing? This contrast becomes even starker when we look at possessed objects, another subset that muddies the waters of ghost origins. Banette, for instance, starts as a discarded doll, abandoned by a child and left to rot in some forgotten alley. Fueled by resentment, it stitches itself back together with black thread and rises as a vengeful puppet, its zipper mouth hiding a curse born from neglect. Unlike Yamask's poignant human mask, Banette's story is one of artificial animation. No soul from beyond, just an object infused with dark emotions that warp it into something alive. Or consider Shuppet, which feeds on the envy of others, drawn to negative feelings like a moth to flame, evolving into Banette only when that hunger consumes it entirely. These aren't echoes of the dead. They're manifestations of abandonment and spite, animated by the world's cruelties rather than its losses. In Hoenn's abandoned theatres, where Banette's sightings spike, locals tell of dolls coming to life at midnight, their button eyes glowing with a fury that feels all too real. You have to ask yourself, as you hold a Poké Ball in your hand, could the toys we discard one day seek revenge? It's a chilling thought, blending the supernatural with the everyday in a way that makes the ghost type feel fragmented, almost improvised. And then there are the pure elemental ghosts like Misdreavus, floating orbs of otherworldly curiosity that seem to emerge from the ether itself. Hailing from the misty moors of Johto, Misdreavus doesn't carry a human face or a tragic backstory. It's a spectral phenomenon, its pearl-like orbs drawing in the life force of those around it for sustenance. Evolve it into Miss Magius, and you get a witch-like figure weaving spells from shadows, more akin to a force of nature than a lingering spirit. Lore from Ecrotech City's bell tower describes Misdreavus as harbingers of dusk, appearing when the veil between worlds thins, but without any ties to death's door. No tears of memory, no search for home, just an innate ghostly whimsy that pranksters and scholars alike can't fully explain. Compare that to the soul-bound Yamask, and the divide is stark. One group mourns the human condition, the other dances on the edges of reality, unbound and eternal. So what does all this variety tell us about the ghost type? It's not a unified essence, not some singular supernatural thread weaving through the Pokémon world. Instead, the category feels like a patchwork quilt of mysteries, echoes of the dead stitched alongside elemental whims and cursed artifacts. This lack of cohesion hints at something deeper, layers of the afterlife that the Pokémon lore has only begun to peel back. In regions like Unova and Kalos, where ghost stories intertwine with human history, how these beings challenge our understanding of mortality? Are Yamask and Phantump proof that souls can reincarnate as Pokémon, seeking redemption through our world? Or do Rotom and Banette suggest that ghosts are simply energy in disguise, latching onto whatever form suits their chaos? The games give us glimpses, battles where a Yamask's mask cracks under pressure, revealing flashes of a human life, or a Rotom gleefully short-circuiting a gym leader's gadget, but no clear answers. Anime episodes amplify this, with trainers like Ash encountering Phantump swarms that lead them to hidden grave sites, only to vanish like smoke. Manga adaptations go further, portraying Misdreavus as ancient guardians of ley lines, pulling power from the Earth's own veins rather than any graveyard. This mixing of origins deepens the overarching mystery of the Pokémon afterlife. If some ghosts are truly the departed, what happens to the rest of us humans when we die? Do we all get a chance at Yamask's mask, or do only the unresolved linger? And why do elemental ghosts like Rotom coexist so seamlessly, possessing objects without a whisper of judgment from the spirits of the dead? It's as if the ghost type is a gateway to overlooked realms, perhaps pocket dimensions where souls fragment, or primal forces that mimic life after death. In Paldea's ancient texts, scholars debate whether the ghost category evolved as a human construct, a way to classify the unclassifiable after encounters with these beings shattered early perceptions of the world. Fossils from Gala's mines even suggest prehistoric ghosts, like drilled-up remnants of dreepy lines, hinting that this diversity spans eons. You might find yourself lying awake at night, replaying a battle with a mixed ghost team, wondering if you've just commanded a chorus of lost souls and wild energies. It's intoxicating, isn't it? That blend of empathy and unease, pulling you deeper into the lore. Delve into specific encounters, and the emotional layers unfold even more. Remember the Yamask that refused to evolve in one Unova tale, clutching its mask tighter with each passing moon, as if evolution meant letting go of its human identity forever. Trainers who persist often face backlash, not from the Pokémon, but from a sudden surge of spectral activity, like the spirit rebelling against change. Contrast that with Rotom's antics in a Sinnoh workshop, where it hopped between devices, turning a quiet inventor's lab into a whirlwind of sparks and laughter, no tragedy required. These stories humanize, or perhaps spectralize, the ghost type, making you question the boundaries between trainer and trained. In the Hisuian era, early records from the Diamond Clan describe ghosts as omens, with Phantump-like figures warning of encroaching blizzards, their childlike forms a poignant counterpoint to the era's harsh survival. Yet possessed dolls akin to Banette were feared as curses from rival clans, objects enchanted with malice during rituals gone wrong. This regional flavour adds richness, showing how ghosts adapt to cultural fears, yet their core disunity persists. The implications ripple outward, touching on the very fabric of Pokémon society. If ghosts encompass both the dead and the inanimate, does that mean the afterlife is no singular paradise or void, but a chaotic tapestry? Legends from the Orange Islands speak of ghost ships crewed by spectral sailors, human echoes manning vessels possessed by seaborne energies, blurring lines further. You can sense the suspense building, right? Every shadow in a Pokémon Center could hide a Yamask's tear or a Rotom's prank, and we're left to ponder the overlooked layers. Perhaps the distortion world, that warped realm tied to Giratina, serves as a sorting ground, funneling souls into these varied forms. Or maybe it's all connected through Z-power or terrestrial phenomena, energies that amplify ghostly potential across types. The lore teases us with these threads, never fully tying them, ensuring the mystery endures. As we wrap our minds around these haunting origins, it's clear the ghost type defies easy answers, inviting us to explore the shadows with fresh eyes. But if the spirits of the departed can linger in such forms, what secrets lie hidden within the devices that capture and contain all Pokémon? Up next, we'll dive into the enigmatic world of secrets inside the Poké Ball, where the very mechanics of our bonds raise questions that might just keep you up long after the ghosts have faded. Secrets inside the Poké Ball. Have you ever wondered what really happens to a Pokémon the moment that red beam of light pulls it into a Pokéball? It's not just a simple shrink and store trick like some high-tech vacuum cleaner. No, the truth runs deeper, shrouded in mystery that even the brightest minds in the Pokémon world can't fully unravel. Let's dive into the secrets inside the Pokéball, where science meets the supernatural and what we think we know starts to bend. Picture this. You're out in the wild, tossing a Pokéball at a wild Pikachu. The ball clicks shut, shakes a few times, and then stillness. But inside, that's where the enigma begins. Pokéballs aren't merely containers, they're devices that interact with a Pokémon's very essence. Researchers at places like the Devon Corporation in Hoenn have long theorized that the ball doesn't physically compress the creature. Instead, it converts the Pokémon into a form of pure energy, a digital or quantum state, if you will, that's held in stasis until release. Think about it. How else could a massive beast like Onix fit into something the size of a baseball without breaking every law of physics we know? This energy conversion process taps into the Pokémon's own life force, the same aura that lets them unleash moves like Thunderbolt or Flamethrower. It's efficient, elegant, but utterly unexplained. Why doesn't the conversion harm them? And what safeguards prevent a Pokémon from getting lost in that energy limbo forever? You might be thinking, sure, that sounds plausible, but where's the proof? Well, let's turn to the rare glimpses we've gotten from the inside out. Over the years, a handful of trainers and scientists have documented accounts that hint at what's really going on. Take the case of Professor Rowan from Sinnoh, who once interviewed a newly captured Bidoof. The little guy described the capture not as a blackout, but as slipping into a warm, dreamlike haze, like floating in a cozy bubble where time stretches and worries fade. It wasn't painful, it was almost restful. But here's where it gets unsettling. That same Bidoof later confided that during longer stays inside the ball it felt echoes of other Pokémon's emotions, faint whispers of battles fought or forests lost. Comfort or captivity? It's a fine line, isn't it? You're safe, preserved, but cut off from the world, your body on pause while your mind drifts in isolation. And it's not just rodents sharing these tales. There's a legendary story from the Orange Islands, recounted by a retired trainer named Marina. She caught a lapras that had been wild for years, roaming the seas. When she finally released it after a week-long journey, the lapras sang a melody that translated through a psychic interpreter to something profound. It spoke of the Poké Ball as a silent ocean, vast and echoing, where the water-type Pokémon relived memories of waves crashing under moonlight. But woven into that serenity were threads of longing, a subtle ache for the freedom of open water. Marina swore the lapras seemed grateful for the protection during storms, yet hesitant to return to the ball afterward. These subjective experiences challenge everything we assume. Is the Poké Ball a haven or a cage? For some Pokémon, it might be both, depending on their spirit and the bond with their trainer. You have to ask yourself, if you were the one being pulled into that red light, would you feel at peace or trapped? To understand how we got here, we need to rewind to the roots of this technology. Enter the historical twist that adds even more layers of intrigue, the Hisuian prototypes. Back in the ancient region of Hisui, now modern-day Sinnoh, early Poké Balls weren't the sleek, mass-produced spheres we know today. They were crude, handcrafted from apricorn nuts, carved and hollowed out by the proto-clans who first tamed Pokémon. Archaeological digs in the Coronet Highlands have unearthed these relics. Rough wooden orbs etched with symbols that resemble unknown script, infused with what we now call energy-storing berries. These primitive tech pieces worked on the same principle, drawing in Pokémon through a burst of natural energy, but they were far from perfect. Records from the Hisuian archives, pieced together by historians like Professor Laventon, describe captures that sometimes failed spectacularly. Pokémon would emerge disoriented, their colours faded, as if the conversion process drained them unevenly. Imagine the trial and error of those early days. A warrior tossing an apricorn ball at a rampaging alpha Pokémon, only for the nut to crack open prematurely, spilling out a swirl of ethereal mist. Yet despite their flaws, these prototypes laid the foundation for everything that followed. Fast forward to today, and modern science, armed with Pokédex scanners, DNA sequencers, and even collaborations with Silph Co., still can't explain the core mechanics. How does the ball read a Pokémon's energy signature so precisely? Why do Great Balls or Ultra Balls enhance the process without altering the subjective feel? Theories abound. Some say it's tied to the life energy Arceus wove into the world at creation. Others point to extra-dimensional tech borrowed from Ultra Space. But no one's cracked it. Experiments in labs across Kanto and Gala have tried reverse engineering the process, zapping objects into energy states, but nothing comes close. The Poké Ball remains a black box, literally and figuratively. Let's lean into those rare accounts a bit more, because they paint a picture that's equal parts fascinating and eerie. There's the infamous diary of a Johto trainer from the 90s, found in a Goldenrod City attic. He detailed his Chikorita's experiences over months of travel. At first, the grass type described the ball as a green meadow in my mind, full of blooming flowers and soft breezes, pure comfort after exhausting days on the road. But as battles intensified, the entries shifted. The Chikorita spoke of shadows crowding the meadow, feelings of other captured Pokémon, brushing against its thoughts, like ghosts in a shared dream. Was it sensing the collective energy of the team? Or something more, like residual imprints from previous owners? The trainer noted behavioural changes too. His Pokémon grew more attached, almost clingy, blurring the line between partnership and dependency. You can feel the tension there, can't you? That moment when protection tips into possession. Not all stories end on that ambiguous note. Consider the Alolan tales from the Ether Foundation, where conservationists rehabilitate mistreated Pokémon. One Vulpix, rescued from poachers, recounted its time in a black market ball, modified for longer storage, as a cold cave with no fire. It emerged shivering, not just physically, but emotionally scarred, taking weeks to trust again. In contrast, Pokémon bonded deeply, with empathetic trainers described the ball as an extension of their human companion, a portable nest where they recharge amid the trainer's aura. These variances suggest the experience is deeply personal, influenced by the Pokémon's personality, type, and the trainer's intent. Fire types might feel invigorated, like stoking an inner flame. psychics could navigate lucid dreams within. But for wild ones, fresh from freedom, it's often a jolt, comfort laced with the sting of surrender. Diving deeper into the energy conversion idea, let's speculate on the how. The Poké Ball's outer shell, made from synthetic apricorn derivatives, acts as a conduit. When thrown, it emits a low-frequency pulse that resonates with the Pokémon's cells, breaking them down into photons or plasma-like particles. Stored in a microcircuitry core, this energy hums stably, powered by the Pokémon's own vitality. No batteries needed. Release reverses it, rebuilding the body atom by atom. Sounds straightforward, right? Except for the glitches. Rare ball malfunctions reported in the Indigo League archives describe Pokémon emerging altered. Temporary type shifts or enhanced abilities, as if the conversion amplified hidden potentials. One infamous incident involved a matchup in Fuchsia City that came out briefly able to levitate, defying its fighting type nature. Coincidence or a peek into untapped mechanics? Modern science throws up its hands. Quantum, entanglement or poke spirit interaction, they say, but without proof. The Hisuian angle only deepens the puzzle. Those early prototypes weren't just nuts, they were ritual objects. Shamans in ancient Hisui believed the apricorns held guardian spirits, and infusing them with berries created a symbiotic link. Excavations at the Salacian ruins turned up balls with internal chambers, lined in what looks like fossilized energy crystals, precursors to the Master Ball's tech perhaps. Yet, for all their primitiveness, they achieved the same conversion without electronics. How? Folklore claims it was through chants and bonds, suggesting the human-Pokémon connection is the real key. Today's Pokéballs might streamline it, but they haven't improved on the mystery. In fact, with global trade and mass production, some whisper that quality varies. Cheap knockoffs from Unova's black market leading to those disorienting releases. You know, sharing these accounts makes you rethink your own team, doesn't it? That loyal Eve evolution by your side. What dreams does it chase in its ball during quiet nights? The blurring of comfort and captivity hits home when you consider ethical angles. Organisations like the Pokémon Rights Committee in Paldea debate regulations, mandatory release times, or balls with windows for mental check-ins via aura readers. But enforcement? Impossible without understanding the internals. And those subjective experiences keep surfacing in unexpected ways. A recent study from Mesagoza University analysed 50 released Pokémon via telepathic surveys. Over 70% reported positive sensations, rest safety, but 20% mentioned unease, like being half awake in a fog. The rest? Silent, as if the process wiped subtle memories. What does that mean for long-term captures, like those veteran aces in the Hall of Fame? Pushing further, consider evolutionary implications. Baby Pokémon, like Togepi, seem to thrive in balls, entering an accelerated growth state, while legendaries resist fiercely. Think Mewtwo's escapes in the labs. Is the conversion tuned to a Pokémon's power level? Ultra Balls for rares suggest yes, but why? Perhaps the energy state allows subtle evolution, explaining sudden level ups post-capture. Or maybe it's the captivity that sparks change, a survival adaptation blurring wild instinct with trained loyalty. These threads weave a tapestry of wonder and worry, where every click of a ball echoes unanswered questions. As we peel back these layers, the Poké Ball emerges, not as a tool, but a mirror to our relationship with Pokémon, nurturing yet controlling, intimate yet isolating. The Hisuian prototypes remind us it's ancient magic dressed as tech, and modern bafflement proves we're still novices. What other secrets lurk in that tiny sphere, waiting for the next bold discovery? But before we rest on that thought, let's turn our gaze to echoes of lost civilizations, where ruins whisper of Pokémon societies long vanished, holding clues that might finally unlock these enduring riddles. What forgotten worlds await us there? Echoes of lost civilizations. In the heart of Johto, where ancient forests whisper secrets to the wind, the ruins of Alph emerge from the earth like the bones of a long-extinct beast. These weathered stone chambers, etched with symbols no modern scholar can fully decipher, hold clues to a civilization that predates even the earliest human settlements. What if I told you that these ruins aren't just relics of human ambition, but gateways to dimensions where Pokémon once ruled alongside beings we've long forgotten? As we delve into the echoes of lost civilizations, you'll start to see how these sites challenge everything we think we know about the Pokémon world. Let's begin with the ruins of Alph themselves. Picture yourself standing at the entrance, the air thick with the scent of moss and mystery. Discovered centuries ago, these underground puzzles demand specific Pokémon to unlock their inner chambers, something that hints at a deliberate design, as if the builders knew exactly which creatures would carry the key. But the real enigma lies in the walls, covered in a script made of unknown, those enigmatic letter-like Pokémon that float like living glyphs. Each unknown represents a single character from an alphabet that's equal parts familiar and alien. Scholars have spent lifetimes trying to translate it, piecing together fragments that suggest stories of creation, cataclysms, and worlds beyond our own. You see, the unknown aren't just decorative, they're active participants in the ruin's secrets. When you encounter them here, they swarm in patterns that mimic the carvings, almost as if they're echoing a language from another time. Researchers believe this script isn't a mere writing system, it's a form of dimensional code. Reports from explorers describe sudden rifts in reality within the ruins, pockets of space where gravity twists, colours invert, and glimpses of other eras flicker like shadows on a cave wall. One trainer, in a detailed journal from the 90s, claimed to see towering structures, not of stone, but of pure energy, inhabited by Pokémon forms that don't exist in our Pokédex. These dimensional leaks, as they're called, suggest the ruins of Alph were built, or perhaps grown, around natural tears in the fabric of space-time, leaks from forgotten eras that bleed into our world even now. But why would an ancient society construct such a place? The answer might lie in the Unknown's behaviour. Unlike most Pokémon, Unknowns seem disinterested in battling or bonding. They exist to observe and record. Theories propose they were scribes or guardians for a civilization that harnessed interdimensional travel long before humans dreamed of it. Imagine a society where Unknown weren't wild encounters, but tools etching histories across realities to preserve knowledge against inevitable collapse. And here's where it gets chilling. Some Unknown clusters form words or symbols that align with myths from distant regions, like the creation plates of Arceus or the time-warping dances of Celebi. Could these leaks be remnants of a cataclysm that scattered this knowledge, leaving us to puzzle it out like a half-finished mosaic? As you let this sink in, consider how these echoes resonate far beyond Johto. Turn your thoughts to the Sinnoh ruins, tucked away in the Sinnoh region's snowy peaks, a site so remote it feels like stepping into a myth. Unlike the Alph's puzzle-like entrances, Sinnoh is a sprawling complex of monolithic pillars and underground halls, revered in local legends as the birthplace of legendary Pokémon. Excavations have uncovered artifacts blending human craftsmanship with Pokémon biology, statues of Dialga and Palkia, intertwined with gears and crystals that pulse with residual energy. What strikes you immediately is the cultural fusion. Inscriptions here mix ancient Sinnoh runes with motifs eerily similar to the unowned script from Alf. This connection isn't coincidence. Sinnoh ruins appear to be a nexus for myths across cultures, drawing pilgrims who believe it houses the Speaking Stone, a relic said to channel voices from the past. Trainers who've activated it report hearing fragmented dialogues, not in any known language, but in a chorus of Pokémon cries and human tones, as if debating the fate of worlds. Dimensional anomalies abound here too. Sudden blizzards that reveal hidden chambers, or illusions of vast cities where Pokémon and humans collaborate in ways we can scarcely imagine. One archaeologist's account describes a leak event where the ruins briefly overlapped with what looks like a futuristic skyline, complete with hovering metallic birds, perhaps Articuno's kin from another timeline. These incidents tie Sinnoh to Alf, suggesting a network of sites built by the same extinct society, one that viewed dimensions not as barriers, but as bridges for coexistence. Now let's journey southward to Unova, where the relic castle in the vast desert resort buries even deeper truths under layers of sand. This labyrinthine fortress, half swallowed by dunes, was once a crown jewel of an advanced empire, its halls lined with golden relics and murals depicting Pokémon as architects and rulers. What sets Relic Castle apart is the evidence of deliberate Pokémon integration. Chambers shaped like Volcarona's wings, traps that only certain ghost types can navigate, and a central throne room with a massive crystal that hums in response to Darmanitan's presence. The castle's lower levels reveal scripts akin to Unown's, but evolved, more fluid, incorporating elemental symbols that glow under moonlight. Explorers have documented dimensional leaks here as well, often triggered by sandstorms that unearth buried passages. One such event in the early 2000s led a team to a sub-chamber filled with holographic projections, scenes of humans and Pokémon co-building spires that pierced the clouds only to crumble under a shadowy assault. The attackers, beings that resemble ultra beasts, hinting at invasions from beyond. Relic Castle connects to Sinnoh and Alf through shared iconography, a recurring motif of a wheel divided into regions, symbolizing a global civilization that spanned continents. This society, it seems, wasn't human-centric. Pokémon were equals, perhaps superiors, in governance and innovation. Relics like the Crown of the Ancients, etched with commands that only certain legendaries can read, suggest a world where bonds between species powered entire cities. You might wonder, how do these sites link up? The pattern is undeniable. Each ruin, Alf's puzzles, Sinnoh's mythic pillars, Relic Castle's sandy vaults, show signs of advanced engineering that defies primitive tools. Carbon dating places their origins millennia apart, yet stylistic consistencies scream of a single cultural thread. Dimensional leaks recur at all three, rifts that pull in artifacts from lost eras, like a Johto expedition unearthing a Sinnoh-style plate in Alf, or Unova diggers finding unknown fossils amid relic sands. These aren't random, they're scars from a unified event, perhaps a war or natural disaster that fractured their world across dimensions. Think about the implications for a moment. If these civilizations blended human and Pokémon worlds so seamlessly, why did they vanish? Legends whisper of hubris, tampering with forces like the Distortion World, inviting chaos from ultraspace, or maybe environmental collapse, as rising seas or endless winters buried their achievements. What's fascinating is how Pokémon remember. Unown still guard Alph. Volcarona haunts Relic Castle's depths, and Sinjo's lakes teem with lake guardians echoing ancient pacts. These ruins aren't tombs, they're living archives, leaking knowledge to those patient enough to listen. As we piece this together, a revelation emerges that reshapes our understanding of Pokémon history. The repeated appearance of these ruins across regions, Johto, Sinnoh, Unova, and whispers of more in Hisui's ancient settlements, points to a hidden tapestry of thriving, vanished Pokémon cultures. Not side notes to human stories, but the main narrative. Imagine societies where Mewtwo's precursors weren't lab accidents, but evolved partners in progress. Where ghost types weren't hauntings, but historians preserving oral epics in the ether. This extinct network suggests Pokémon once dominated, building empires that harnessed time, space, and spirit in harmony with humans, or perhaps without them entirely. Delve deeper, and you'll find supporting evidence in overlooked lore. In the ruins of Alph, activating the correct puzzles doesn't just reveal rooms, it triggers unknown formations that spell out warnings. Beware the Shatter, mirroring Sinjo's tales of Giratina's exile. Relic Castle's murals depict a council of Pokémon elders, with human figures as advisors, not overlords. And, in Hisui's fragmented records, similar scripts appear on moonstones, linking back to a pre-feudal era of coexistence. These cultures likely spanned the globe, trading knowledge via dimensional shortcuts, until something, maybe Arceus' judgment or an ultra incursion, erased them. What does this mean for you, wandering trainer? It invites us to question our place in the world. Are we rediscoverers, or unwitting heirs to a legacy we're too fragmented to reclaim? The leaks continue. Recent reports from Alph show unknown swarms growing restless, as if sensing an approaching convergence. In Sinjo, seismic activity has unearthed new chambers, and Relic Castle's sands shift to reveal paths long sealed. These echoes aren't fading, they're calling, urging us to listen before the next fracture widens. But as tantalizing as these lost worlds are, they lead us to even thornier questions about the Pokémon at their pinnacle. What happens when legends themselves leave no trace of continuation, no heirs to their thrones? That's the puzzle we'll unravel in the next chapter, Legends Without Legacy, where we explore why some of the mightiest beings seem destined to fade into solitude. You won't want to miss how this ties the threads of extinction to the heart of power itself. Legends without legacy. Have you ever wondered why the most powerful beings in the Pokémon world, those towering legends like Rayquaza or Lugia, seem forever alone in their immortality? They roam the skies, command the seas, and shape the very fabric of reality. Yet when it comes to passing on their essence, they draw a blank. No eggs, no offspring. It's as if the gods of this universe have been cursed with eternal solitude, defying every rule of natural reproduction in the wild Pokémon around us. In a world where Pidgey flocks build nests and build families generation after generation, why do these divine creatures stand apart, untouched by the cycle of life? Let's unpack this puzzle step by step, because it's one of those mysteries that gnaws at you the longer you think about it. Picture the modern Pokémon era, the one we trainers know from our journeys through Kanto, Johto, and beyond. You catch a legendary, you battle with it, you bond over epic showdowns against Team Rocket or shadowy organisations. But try as you might, when you leave it at the daycare or pair it with another Pokémon, nothing happens. No eggs appear in your party. The Pokédex entry for most of them hints at their rarity, their singular existence, like Mewtwo's tragic origin as a one-of-a-kind clone, or Kyogre's role as the embodiment of the ocean itself. They're not just rare, they're unique, irreplaceable. This isn't some game mechanic oversight, it's baked into the lore. The games explicitly state that legendaries cannot breed. No little Rayquazas hatching from eggs, no baby Deoxys scampering about. It's a hard line drawn in the sand. But why? In the natural world, reproduction is the ultimate survival strategy. Pokémon evolve, adapt, and multiply to thrive against threats, from predators to environmental changes. Even the mightiest ones, like a fully evolved Tyranitar, lay eggs and continue their line. So what makes legendaries different? Are they truly immortal, existing outside time's grasp like Dialga controlling the flow of seconds itself? Or is this a deliberate design by Arceus, the creator, to keep their power from diluting across generations? You start to question if their legendary status comes at the cost of loneliness, an eternal vigil without heirs to carry the torch. It's haunting, isn't it? These beings who could reshape continents or summon storms are denied the simple joy of family, frozen in their prime while the world around them pulses with new life. Now here's where things get really intriguing and a bit frustrating, because not all legendaries follow this rule. There are exceptions that poke holes in the whole no eggs doctrine, shining a spotlight on the inconsistencies riddling their immortal lineages. Take Manaphy and Phione, for instance. These elusive sea princes from the Sinnoh region are classified as legendaries, right? Manaphy, the prince of the sea, with its ability to form deep bonds through heart swap, and Phione, its quirky offspring, often dismissed as a mere myth, but very much real. Unlike their lofty counterparts, they can breed. You can pair a female Manaphy with a Ditto, and boom, an egg hatches into a Phione. It's the only confirmed way legendaries reproduce in the games, a tiny crack in the armour of immortality. But what does this mean? Why them and not, say, the Regis or the Weather Trio? Phione isn't even considered as powerful as Manaphy. It's more like a diluted version, a reminder of what could be. Some fans speculate that Manaphy represents a bridge between the divine and the mortal. Its reproduction, a nod to ancient ocean myths, where sea gods mingled with lesser beings to create hybrid lines. Yet this exception exposes a glaring inconsistency. If Manaphy can produce offspring, why can't Mew, the ancestor of all Pokémon, or Celebi, the guardian of time? It suggests that legendary status isn't a monolith, it's fluid, perhaps tied to their origins or roles in the ecosystem. Are some legendaries true immortals, created whole by higher powers, while others are elevated mortals who retain echoes of their reproductive past? You can't help but feel a twinge of unease here, like the Pokémon world is hiding a family tree that's far more tangled than we realise. This breeding anomaly doesn't just challenge game rules, it ripples into the deeper lore of immortal lineages. Think about it. If legendaries are meant to be eternal, unchanging forces, like Ho-Oh's cycle of life and death, or Jirachi's millennium-long slumbers, then offspring would undermine that purity. A lineage implies evolution, dilution, maybe even conflict among heirs vying for power. Imagine a world where legendary bloodlines warred like royal dynasties, Groudon and Kyogre's descendants flooding continents in petty squabbles. The no eggs rule preserves their mystique, keeps them as singular icons, but Manaphy and Phione shatter that illusion. Phione in particular is a wild card, hatched from Manaphy's eggs, yet unable to evolve back into its parent form. It's like a demoted prince wandering the oceans in perpetual adolescence. Does this mean some legendaries are locked in a cycle of rebirth through diluted forms, while others are truly alone? The lore leaves us guessing, but it hints at a hidden vulnerability in their immortality. What if their power comes at the price of isolation, a cosmic trade-off to prevent the world from being overrun by godlings? As you mull this over, the mystery deepens with an ancient twist that flips everything on its head. What if this modern barrenness isn't the natural state of legendaries, but a shadow of a forgotten past? Delve into the regional myths and proto-forms scattered across the Pokémon world, and you'll uncover whispers of once vast breeding populations among these so-called gods. Start with Hisui, the ancient precursor to Sinnoh. The old texts speak of noble Pokémon, elevated guardians like Cleavor or Hisuian Lilligant, who weren't always solitary. They commanded clans, herds of lesser kin that shared their essence, suggesting a time when power was distributed through bloodlines. Fast forward to the paradox Pokémon in Paldea, those futuristic and prehistoric anomalies like Iron Valiant or Roaring Moon. They're not just time displaced. Some theorize they're echoes of proto-legendaries, evolved from breeding lines that predated the current era. Imagine primordial herds of proto-Rayquaza soaring in packs, laying eggs that hatched into sky dominions. Their populations vast enough to influence weather patterns across continents. Regional myths amplify this idea. In Hoenn, the lore of the Draconid people reveres Rayquaza not as a lone meteor guardian, but as the pinnacle of an ancient dragon lineage, with tales of lesser sky serpents that once nested in the ozone layer. Johto's bell tower legends hint at Suicune descending from a pack of purifying beasts, their numbers thinned by human wars or divine decree. Even in Galar, the Dynamax phenomenon ties into fossils of giant Pokémon that might have been proto-legendaries, their bones suggesting communal lairs where eggs were guarded like treasures. These aren't just fan theories. They're embedded in the game's ruins and NPC dialogues. The Sinnoh ruins, for example, with their cross-cultural etchings, depict legendary figures surrounded by what look like familial clusters, shadowy offspring, or siblings blending into the divine hierarchy. This ancient breeding angle raises profound questions about how the world changed. Were these proto-populations culled by cataclysms, like the Great War in Kalos or the Darkest Day in Galar? Did Arceus intervene, enforcing sterility to consolidate power after chaos ensued from multiplying gods? Or is it a natural evolution, where as Pokémon society advanced with humans, legendaries withdrew into solitude to avoid interference? You feel the weight of history here, a sense of loss for lineages erased from the stars. Manaphy and Fina might be the last remnants, a fragile thread connecting us to that fertile past. Their ability to breed isn't an exception, it's a survival mechanism, a quiet rebellion against the modern curse of isolation. Consider the implications for the broader Pokémon cosmos. If legendaries once bred in vast numbers, it reframes their roles. No longer aloof deities, they become stewards of ecosystems built on their descendants. The weather trio, Groudon, Kyogre, Rayquaza, could have originated from warring clans. Their primal conflict, a civil war among kin. In Unova, the Tau trio's yin-yang balance might echo ancient family pacts, now reduced to solitary enforcers. Even the late guardians of Sinnoh, Uxie, Mesprit and Azelf, guardians of knowledge, emotion and will, hint at a triune lineage that once populated minds across the land. This proto-breeding theory ties into the creation myth, suggesting Arceus didn't birth immortals in isolation, but sparked dynasties that later fragmented. But why hide this history? Perhaps to protect trainers like you and me from seeking forbidden rituals to awaken dormant lineages. Imagine stumbling upon an ancient altar in the depths of a ruin, where a ritual could coax eggs from a legendary. But at what cost? The lore warns of hubris, like the Sinnoh labs that birthed Mewtwo's rage. These inconsistencies in immortal lineages aren't flaws, they're invitations to wonder. They make you question if the Pokémon world is still evolving, if somewhere in ultra space or a hidden timeline, legendary families thrive unchecked. As we peel back these layers, the sorrow of their modern solitude hits harder. These beings, capable of miracles, denied the miracle of new life. Yet the exceptions and ancient echoes offer hope, a reminder that nothing in this universe is truly absolute. What secrets lie in the eggs that never were? And how might uncovering them change everything we know about power and legacy? And speaking of powers that push the boundaries of what we think possible, up next in our exploration of the Pokémon world's unsolved mysteries, we'll dive into powers beyond evolution. You won't want to miss how these enigmatic forces rewrite the rules of growth and transformation in ways that will leave you questioning the very essence of Pokémon themselves. I hope you're as amazed by this as I am. If you want to stay updated on more content like this, make sure to subscribe and join our community of curious minds. Trust me, what's coming next will challenge everything you thought you knew. Powers beyond evolution. In the heart of Kalos, where the ruins of ancient battles still echo through the mist-shrouded valleys, trainers first witnessed a transformation that shattered the limits of what we thought Pokémon could achieve. Mega Evolution, that explosive surge of power triggered by a shimmering keystone and a Pokémon's own Megastone, didn't just evolve creatures, it awakened something deeper, a force tied to crystals that pulse with forgotten energy. But what if I told you this wasn't some modern miracle, but a rediscovery of power as old as the Earth itself? Let's dive into the enigma of these evolutionary leaps. Mega, Z-Power and Terastal, each bound to their regions, yet whispering of a shared, prehistoric origin. Picture this. Not in your mind's eye, but feel the weight of it. A Charizard, its form twisting under the glow of a Megastone, wings unfurling into blazing sails as it taps into Mega Charizard X or Y. This happened first in Kalos, where the stones themselves are fragments of a cataclysmic war from eons ago. Legend has it that AZ, the ancient king who built the ultimate weapon, harnessed these crystals to fuel his grief-fueled rage. The Megastones scattered across the land, waiting for the right bond between trainer and Pokémon to reignite them. You see, Mega Evolution requires that unbreakable link, a resonance that amplifies the Pokémon's life force through the stone's crystalline lattice. Scientists in Lumiose City have scanned these stones, finding lattices that vibrate at frequencies matching the DNA of ancient Pokémon fossils dug up from Geosenge Town's craters. It's as if the stones aren't just amplifiers, they're repositories of primal energy, echoing battles fought before humans even walked the land. But Mega isn't alone in its regional exclusivity. Shift your thoughts to the sun-drenched islands of Alola, where the air hums with tropical winds and the call of the kahunas. Here, Z-Power emerges, channeled through glittering Z-crystals that trainers wear like sacred talismans. Unlike Mega's stone-to-Pokémon bond, Z-Power demands a dance, a unified pose between human and Pokémon that syncs their spirits to unleash a single, devastating move. Take the Therium Z, for instance, boosting fire-type attacks to cataclysmic levels on a Charizard, enveloping it in a vortex of flames that rivals a volcano's fury. Alolan lore ties these crystals to the Tapus, the guardian deities who forged them from the island's volcanic hearts. Elders in Hau'oli City speak of how Z crystals formed during the region's creation, when the islands rose from the sea amid clashes of land and wave. Poké Ball analyses reveal that Z crystals contain trace elements identical to those in megastones, quartz-like structures infused with what researchers call etheric residue, a glowing compound that defies conventional physics. Now, transport yourself to Paldea, that vast, rugged expanse where mountains pierce the sky and deserts hide secrets under shifting sands. Terastalization is the newest of these powers, a radiant phenomenon where Pokémon crystallize into a Terra type, altering their very essence mid-battle. A normally water-type Quaquaval might shimmer into a stellar Terra type, its attacks exploding with star-like bursts that ignore type weaknesses. This power stems from the Terastalization phenomenon in Area 0, where massive Terra crystals jut from the earth like frozen lightning. Trainers attune their Pokémon using Terra shards, fragments that embed into the creature's body, granting that temporary type shift. Paldean scholars at Uva Academy hypothesize that these crystals are born from the planet's core pressures, but excavations in the Great Crater reveal something more. Veins of Terra crystals intertwined with fossilized remains, suggesting they predate the region's human settlements by millions of years. You might be wondering, how do these three, Mega from Kalos' elegant ruins, Z-Power from Alola's vibrant shores, and Terastal from Paldea's wild frontiers, connect across oceans and eras? The key lies in their crystalline hearts, each a variant of the same prehistoric material. Dig deeper into the lore and you'll uncover ties to the world's ancient bedrock. In Kalos' glittering cave, megastones cluster around fossil deposits containing the bones of what paleontologists call proto-mega species, extinct Pokémon with skeletal structures showing unnatural density, as if they once held mega energy in their very marrow. Alola's Whaler Volcano Park yields Z crystal geodes embedded in amber-preserved fossils of bird-like creatures, their wings etched with energy patterns matching modern Z moves. And in Paldea's Asado Desert, Terra shards flake off from amber chunks, encasing Paradox Pokémon, those bizarre, time-displaced beings whose bodies seem warped by crystalline intrusions. These fossils aren't random relics. They hint at an ancient ubiquity, a time when this power wasn't locked to one region, but flowed freely across the Pokémon world. Imagine a prehistoric era long before the continents drifted apart, when massive crystal veins snaked through the supercontinent of whatever primordial landmass birthed our regions. Fossils from the Sinnoh Badlands, far from any of these hotspots, show armor fossils with lattice imprints identical to megastone scans, suggesting that Kabutops, or Armaldo ancestors, once mega evolved in brutal survival clashes. In Johto's Ruins of Alph, unknown script carved into walls depicts glowing orbs that could be early Z crystals, surrounded by fossil sketches of ancient beasts channeling unified energies. Even in Gala's Isle of Armor, where Kubfu trains under waterfalls, dig sites reveal Terra-like shards fused to fossilized Urshifu remains, implying that this power transcended borders, adapting to local environments like a living force. What you're piecing together here is the possibility that Mega, Z-Power, and Terastal aren't separate inventions of their regions but guises of the same primal force, a raw evolutionary catalyst woven into the planet's geology. Think of it as the Earth's lifeblood, crystallized over millennia and resurfacing where human ambition or natural cataclysms crack the surface. In Kalos, it manifests as personal bonds through stones, reflecting the region's theme of eternal connections forged in war and loss. Alola channels it through communal dances, echoing the island's spirit of harmony with nature. Paldea lets it burst forth in adaptive types, mirroring the land's diverse, unforgiving terrains. But why the regional locks? Theories abound. Some say the Great Cataclysm, that vague event tied to AZ's weapon, shattered the global crystal network, confining the power to shards that regenerated locally. Others point to legendary Pokémon like Rayquaza, who in Hoenn lore Mega evolves without a stone, suggesting these deities hoard the true source, doling it out in diluted forms. Let's explore a specific example to make this tangible. Consider Lucario, a Pokémon that Mega evolves in Kalos with a stone that amplifies its aura-sensing abilities to godlike levels. Fossils of ancient Riolupax from Unova's Twist Mountain show bone marrow rich in the same aura crystals, hinting that these wolves once roamed as Megapacks, their howls sinking Z-power-like energies in hunts. Fast forward to Paldea, where a Terastyle Lucario might shift to fighting terror, its fists glowing with shard-infused might. It's the same Pokémon lineage, tapping variations of one force. Or take Venusaur, Mega in Kalos, Z-powered in Alola for Bloom Doom, Terastyle in Paldea for adaptive petals. Fossil pollen from Kanto's Cerulean Cave matches the compounds in all three crystal types, suggesting Bulbasaur's ancestors photosynthesized this energy directly from ancient crystal blooms. This prehistoric ubiquity raises chilling questions. Were these powers always meant for Pokémon alone? Or did ancient civilizations harness them too? Relic fragments from Hisui, modern Sinnoh, describe crystal shamans who induced evolutions in alpha Pokémon, using Proto-Z dances around fossil altars. If this force was once everywhere, why did it fade? Cataclysms like the one in Kalos might have sealed it away, leaving only echoes in fossils that modern trainers unwittingly revive. You can almost hear the rumble of those old battles, the ground cracking as prehistoric titans clashed, their forms surging with crystalline light that lit the skies. Yet, for all these connections, the origins of this power remain stubbornly locked away, like a vault sealed by time itself. No expedition into Area Zero has pierced the deepest crystal layers without anomalous interference. Pokémon going berserk, time dilating, realities flickering. In Alola's ultra-megalopolis, Z-crystal replicas pulse with otherworldly energy, but they fizzle without the island's specific humidity. Kalos's stones crack under lab pressures, refusing to yield their secrets. This opacity fuels wild theories, untapped evolutionary secrets waiting to be unlocked, perhaps a unified primal crystal that could grant permanent evolutions or even human Pokémon fusions. Imagine if we bridged these guises fully. Would Charizard soar with Z-Terastyle flames, rewriting battles forever? Or is the lock a safeguard, preventing a return to that chaotic prehistoric age when the power ran unchecked, devouring landscapes in its hunger for growth? As we sift through these fossil whispers and crystal gleams, one thread pulls tighter. The boundary between human and Pokémon might be thinner than we assume. Could this primal force have shaped us both from the same clay? That's the mystery we'll unravel next in Humans and Pokémon. One blood, where ancient texts and bizarre anomalies suggest we share more than just companionship. We might share origins. Stick around? You won't want to miss how this blurs the line forever. Humans and Pokémon. One blood. Have you ever wondered if the line between human and Pokémon is as solid as we think? In the quiet shelves of the Canalave Library in Sinnoh, ancient texts whisper a radical idea. Humans and Pokémon didn't just evolve side by side, They sprang from the same ancient bloodline, diverging long ago into what today. These dusty tomes, etched with scripts from scholars who predated even the first gym leaders, describe a primordial era when our ancestors roamed as one unified species, sharing instincts, forms and fates. But something shattered that unity, splitting us into two paths, one walking upright with tools and dreams, the other harnessing raw elemental power. It's a claim that flips everything you know about the Pokémon world on its head, and as we dive deeper, you'll start to see why it might not be so far-fetched. Picture this, not in your mind's eye, but feel the weight of it. You're holding a faded scroll from Canalave, its ink faded but insistent. The text speaks of a great divergence, a cataclysmic event tied to the birth of the continents themselves. Before Dialga stamped time into existence, or Palkia stretched space-wide, there was a single progenitor race, fluid and adaptable, capable of both thought and transformation. Humans, according to these writings, retained the spark of intellect and society building, while Pokémon branched into wild varieties attuned to nature's forces. The scholars argue this shared ancestry explains our unbreakable bond, why we train them, why they fight for us, why some seem to understand our words better than others. But here's where it gets unsettling. If we're truly one blood, why do modern science and folklore keep uncovering echoes of that lost connection? You might dismiss it as myth, but stick with me, because the evidence starts piling up in ways that demand a second look. Let's start with something tangible, something you can almost measure. Take Kadabra, that spoon-bending psychic powerhouse. Evolve an Abra, and you get a Pokémon whose IQ is off the charts. Scientists in the Pokémon League have clocked it at over 5,000, smarter than any human genius on record. But it's not just raw brain power, it's the parallels that chill you. Kadabra doesn't just calculate, it anticipates human thoughts, mimics our problem-solving tricks, even holds spoons like we do utensils. Lab studies from Saffron City show Kadabra solving complex puzzles faster than a team of researchers, using logic that mirrors our own deductive reasoning. One experiment had a Kadabra predicting stock market shifts based on trader emotions, something only the sharpest human economists attempt. If humans and Pokémon diverged from the same stock, doesn't this feel like a remnant of our shared cognitive heritage? It's as if Kadabra is a living bridge, reminding us that what we call intelligence might once have been universal, flowing freely between forms. And it's not isolated to psychics. Consider Mr. Mime, the barrier-building performer whose mimicry goes beyond mere imitation. You know how they copy gestures, right? But delve into the reports from Johto circuses and Kalos theatres, and you'll find Mr. Mime replicating not just movements, but entire behaviours, down to human speech patterns and emotional cues. Trainers tell stories of Mr. Mime acting out, forgotten memories, pulling invisible walls from the air that block real sounds or sights, as if echoing some innate understanding of human boundaries. In one documented case from Lumia City, a Mr. Mime comforted a grieving child by mimicking her late mother's lullaby, complete with improvised gestures for the words it couldn't speak. Behaviourists argue this isn't learned, it's instinctive, wired deep in their DNA. If our ancestors were one, perhaps Mr. Mime's art is a subconscious nod to that unity, a performance of what we all once were, shapeshifters in a world without strict divides. Now shift your thoughts to something more personal, more human. Enter Ingo, the enigmatic subway boss from Unova's Nimbasa City. On the surface, he's just a stern trainer with a flair for electric types, but peel back the layers and his traits scream otherworldly. Witnesses describe Ingo's eyes glowing faintly in the dark tunnels, his voice carrying an unnatural echo that syncs with the rumble of trains, like he's part machine, part shadow. Rumours persist that he doesn't age like normal humans. Sketches from decades ago match his appearance today. And then there are the anomalies during battles. Ingo's commands sometimes warp reality, pulling Pokémon into synchronized frenzies that defy physics, as if he's tapping into a hidden lineage. Some say he's descended from ancient nomads who never fully diverged, retaining Pokémon-like resilience, surviving falls that would crush a regular person, or sensing disturbances in the tracks miles away. Ingo himself dodges questions, but in quiet moments he mutters about the old blood calling. You have to ask yourself, is he a man with Pokémon traits, or proof that the divergence left hybrids in our midst? Blurring the line we pretend is so clear. These aren't random oddities, they're threads pulling at the fabric of separation. Geneticists in the Alola region have sequenced samples from wild Pokémon and found startling overlaps, shared proteins in human blood that match those in electric types, or neural pathways in psychic Pokémon that echo our own empathy centers. But what really shakes the foundation are the legends that push this idea to its edge. Scattered across regions, from the oral tales of Hisui to the etched walls of Hoenn's caves, stories abound of transformations, humans turning into Pokémon, and vice versa. In one Sinnoh legend, a warrior cursed by a rampaging Gyarados merged with the sea, emerging as a majestic Kingdra, his human knowledge guiding tidal battles for generations. Flip it around, and you have the tale of a lost Lapras who washed ashore in Kanto, shedding scales to walk as a fisherman, forever torn between worlds. These aren't fairy tales meant to entertain. They're warnings, or perhaps memories, of a time when such shifts were possible. Consider the myth from Paldea's ancient texts. A scholar, in pursuit of forbidden knowledge, drank from a crystal spring tied to terrestrial energy, only to awaken as a shimmering iron valiant, his mind intact but body forged in paradox steel. He roamed the lands, solving riddles that stumped kings, until he faded back to human form under a full moon. Proof, the story claims, that the blood remembers. And don't get me started on the unknown's whispers in the ruins of Alph. They've been linked to visions of people dissolving into letter shapes, reforming as Pokémon with human cunning. If the Canalave texts are right, these transformations aren't magic. They're atavisms, echoes of our unified origin bubbling up when the veil thins. You feel it, don't you? That creeping sense that we're not so different after all. Every time you bond with your starter, every shared victory in the league, it's like reclaiming a piece of that lost wholeness. But why does this matter now? In a world racing toward ultra wormholes and time fractures, understanding our shared blood could unlock secrets we've long ignored, perhaps even prevent the next great divergence from tearing us apart for good. The anomalies aren't accidents, they're signposts urging us to question. If Kadabra thinks like us, Mr. Mime feels like us, and figures like Ingo live between us, then maybe the real mystery isn't the differences, but how we've forgotten the sameness. Delve deeper into these tales, and you'll uncover more layers. Take the folklore from Galar's Crown Tundra, where hermits speak of blood oaths that let humans borrow Pokémon forms during harsh winters, emerging as hardy Sawsbuck to endure the snow, only to revert with heightened senses that last a lifetime. Or the Johto legend of the Elder, who after a lifetime with his Tiflosian, began breathing faint embers in his sleep, his skin warming like volcanic rock. These aren't one-offs, patterns emerge across cultures. In Kalos, the fairy tales warn of eternal dancers who twirl with Mr. Mime troops until they can't stop, their steps lightning until they float as Clefairy under starlight. It's as if the world itself remembers, pushing boundaries in quiet rebellions against our imposed divides. And let's not overlook the scientific undercurrents. Researchers at the Battle Tower have noted cases where human trainers exhibit faint type affinities, fire handlers with inexplicably higher body temperatures, or water specialists who hold breath longer than Olympic divers. Is it coincidence or diluted ancestry? One study from the Sivai Islands analysed fossil records, finding skeletal structures in ancient human remains that suggest flexible limbs, almost proto-Pokémon in adaptability. If the Great Divergence was real, it explains why some people feel more at home with certain types. It's in the blood, calling to its own. But the climactic twist, the one that truly challenges everything, lies in those transformation legends. They don't just hint at unity, they shatter the boundary entirely. Imagine a world where a child's fever dream in the Unova deserts turns her into a shimmering Volcarona, wings of fire carrying her to safety before she wakes human again, forever marked by an inner glow. Or the Huan sailor who dove too deep, merging with a relicanth school, his thoughts swimming in schools until he surfaced with gills that faded but left him fluent in underwater songs. These stories culminate in the grand myth of the Origin Weaver, a being from before Arceus who wove all life from a single thread. Humans, Pokémon, even the legends themselves. When the weave frayed, forms diverged, but the thread endures, allowing rare reversals. It's a hint at a unified origin, so profound it redefines existence. We're not trainers and trained, we're fragments seeking reunion. You won't believe how this ties into the bigger enigmas we've explored. The creation myths, the ghost origins, the very mechanics of our world. If one blood flows through us all, then every mystery we've unpacked gains new depth. As we wrap this chapter, remember those Canalave words: diverged but not divided. The anomalies, the transformations, they're invitations to see ourselves in the mirror of our companions. Up next in Chapter 12, Threads of the Unknown will pull at those frayed edges even harder, unravelling connections that span dimensions and defy time itself. What hidden patterns link the Ultra Beasts to our forgotten past? You won't want to miss how it all stitches together. Threads of the Unknown. What if every unsolved mystery in the Pokémon world isn't just a standalone puzzle, but a single thread in a vast, shimmering tapestry? Across regions from Kanto to Paldea, these enigmas pull at one another, hinting at a cosmology far deeper than any Pokédex entry could capture. You've journeyed through Ultra Beast's tearing, through dimensions, Ditto's shadowy origins, and the ghostly veil between life and afterlife. Now, as we reach the heart of it all, let's trace those connections and see where they lead. Consider Arceus, the alpha Pokémon, said to have birthed the universe from its own essence in Sinnoh's ancient texts. It created Dialga to command time, Palkia to shape space, and Giratina to guard the distortions in between. But what happens when those creations clash with other myths? In Kalos, the eternal war between life and death echoes through Yveltal and Xerneas, suggesting Arceus might be more than a singular creator, perhaps a force interpreted differently across cultures. And in Hisui, the noble Pokémon like Enamorus and the loyal three challenge that hierarchy, as if the creation story evolves with each retelling. These contradictions aren't flaws, they're invitations to wonder. Could Arceus represent a symbolic progenitor a cosmic architect whose blueprint allows for infinite variations? Or is it literal, and the fractures in time and space in Sinnoh's distortion world are scars from its very act of creation? Speaking of those fractures, let's pull in the time and space anomalies that ripple through Johto, Sinnoh, and even Paldea. Celebi, the guardian of the forest, slips through timelines like a whisper on the wind, preserving balance. But in Scarlet and Violet, we encounter paradox forms, ancient and future Pokémon coexisting in Area Zero, defying linear history. Suicune's appearances in those games hint at branching paths, where every choice creates a new reality. The games themselves feel like soft reboots, with continuity bending rather than breaking. Imagine it, a multi-timeline canon where Hisui's ancient battles echo into modern Paldea. This isn't random. It ties back to Giratina's exile in the distortion world, a realm of inverted physics where opposites collide. What if Ultra Beasts aren't invaders from another space, but refugees from these fractured timelines? Their erratic energy signatures, pulsing with otherworldly power, mirror the rifts Celebi navigates. Biology so alien they might not even qualify as Pokémon. Beings that phase in and out, leaving chaos in their wake. Are they fleeing something in ultra space, or drawn here by the same forces that birthed Palkia and Dialga? Now layer in Ditto's enigma, that unassuming blob with the power to mimic anything, yet always betraying its true self through those unchanging eyes and mass. Theories swirl around Cinnabar Island's abandoned labs, where notes hint at cloning experiments gone awry, perhaps using Muse DNA to create the ultimate shapeshifter. But connect this to the broader web. If humans and Pokémon share a common ancestor, as the Canalave library whispers, then Ditto could be a remnant of that blurred lineage. Kadabra's psychic evolutions from Abra suggest intelligence-bridging species, and Mr. Mime's mimicry of human gestures feels eerily familiar. Legends tell of humans transforming into Pokémon, or vice versa, like the anomaly with Ingo in the subway, lost in a timeless loop. Ditto doesn't just transform, it embodies the instability at the heart of creation. What if its origins stem from Arceus's primal energies, a failed echo of the divine plates that shape types? In a world where time fractures, Ditto might be a survivor from a timeline where the boundaries between human and Pokémon never solidified. Ghost types add another spectral layer, don't they? Not all spirits are born the same. Yamas carries the masks of departed humans, their tears a haunting reminder of lost lives. Phantump wanders as the ghost of a child lost in the woods, forever searching. Yet Rotom possesses appliances with gleeful mischief, more elemental force than mournful soul. Misdreavus floats as pure night essence, while man-made objects like Burnett's discarded doll come alive through sheer will. No single definition unites them. It's a category stitching together the supernatural, from human remnants to raw phenomena. Tie this to the creation myth. Giratina rules the afterlife's shadows. But what if ghost types are leaks from that realm, spilling into our world through distortion world cracks? In Paldea's ancient ruins, ghost stories blend with human folklore, suggesting these spirits guard forgotten civilizations. The ruins of Alf, with their unowned script leaking dimensional whispers, or the Sinnoh ruins, where myths from Johto and Sinnoh converge. These sites pulse with ghostly energy. Extinct cultures, advanced beyond our reckoning, might have communed with these entities, only to vanish, leaving their echoes behind. And those missing civilizations, they're the silent witnesses to it all. Relic Castle in Unova hides sand-swept secrets of a desert empire, while Hisui's ancient settlements reveal samurai and nobles who tamed legendaries as equals. The evidence mounts, scripts no one can fully decipher, artifacts humming with unexplained power. What role did they play in the grand design? Perhaps they harnessed the same energies that power Poké Balls, those enigmatic spheres that compress Pokémon into energy states. Their inner worlds a mystery. Hisuian prototypes were crude, wooden orbs capturing spirits crudely, but even modern ones defy physics. Do captured Pokémon dream in there, or experience time differently? Rare accounts from trainers speak of bonds forming in that limbo, suggesting a subjective realm tied to the trainer's will. Link this to Mega Evolution, Z-Power, and Terastal phenomena, all region-specific bursts of potential rooted in ancient crystals and fossils. What if they're expressions of a primal force, the same one Arceus wielded? Prehistoric ubiquity implies these powers once flowed freely, before civilizations tried to control them and faded into legend. Legendary reproduction deepens the puzzle further. Most don't lay eggs in our era. Arceus, Mewtwo, the beasts of Johto, they're singular forces, yet Manaphy and Fione break the mould, their sea-born lineage hinting at ancient breeding grounds. Paradox forms in Paldea, totems in Alola, regional variants in Galar. These suggest proto-populations where legendaries mingled with the wild. Imagine vast herds of Dialga-like titans roaming prehistoric skies, or Giratina's shadows birthing ghostly hordes. In a multi-timeline setup, reproduction might vary, some eras teeming with divine offspring, others sterile echoes. This inconsistency fuels the cosmology. Are legendaries eternal guardians, or evolving species shaped by Arceus's will? The human Pokémon ancestor theory bridges it all. Genetic whispers in lore, behaviours that mirror our own. It's as if the Creator wove us from the same thread, only for time's fractures to pull us apart. You see how these threads intertwine, don't you? Ultra Beast's hopping dimensions could be fallout from Giratina's banishment. Ditto, a clone-born glitch in the creation code. Ghost types the afterlife's bleed into fractured time. Poké Ball mechanics might mimic Ultra Space's compression, while lost civilizations guarded the keys to mega energies, now fragmented across regions. Legendary lineages, once vibrant, now sparse in our timeline, and the human Pokémon divide a poignant reminder of unity lost. It's not chaos, it's a grander cosmology, a Pokémon universe where every mystery reinforces the others. Arceus at the apex, its plates forming the types, but regional myths adding layers, like Carlus's life-death duality, challenging Sinnoh's purity, or Paldea's paradoxes, questioning linear fate. The distortion world isn't an outlier, it's the nexus, where space bends, time loops, and dimensions overlap. What if the entire world is a simulation of Arceus's dream, with ultra space as the subconscious and our legends as fragmented memories? As fans, this web changes everything for the future. Game Freak could expand Hisui's lore into a multiverse-spanning epic, where Area Zero connects to the ruins of Alph, unearthing scripts that rewrite Arceus's tale. Imagine an anime arc delving into Ditto's labs, revealing human experiments that accidentally tapped primal forces, or spin-offs exploring ghost civilizations where Yamask souls guide trainers through extinct worlds. Fan theories thrive here, communities debating if Terastal crystals are Giratina's tears, or if Fione's eggs hint at legendary revival. It keeps the conversation alive, inviting you to theorize late into the night. Will the next generation bridge humans and Pokémon fully, erasing that ancestral divide? or deepen the fractures, with new Ultra Beasts signalling an impending cosmic shift? These questions aren't meant to unsettle. They're soothing, like stars guiding a midnight wander. They remind us the Pokémon world isn't a closed book. It's an open invitation to dream. Ponder this as you drift. In a cosmology, this interconnected, every capture, every evolution echoes the Creator's grand design. Yet the enigmas persist unsolved, pulling us deeper. Why do Ultra Beasts seek light here when their home is void? Does Ditto yearn for its true form, hidden in cloned silence? Are ghost types waiting for us to remember their human faces? And those lost cities, do their spirits watch us rebuild what they lost? The multi-timeline dance means no answer is final. Each game adds a stitch to the tapestry. Fans, your passion weaves it further. Art, stories, mods that explore what-ifs. Future lore might confirm Arceus as the ultimate thread, binding all, or reveal it as one facet of a greater pantheon. Either way, it leaves room for wonder, for that quiet thrill of the unknown. These enigmas ensure the Pokémon world remains eternally unsolved and endlessly captivating. They've drawn you through 10 profound mysteries, each a doorway to more. As the night deepens, let these threads lull you into sleep, knowing tomorrow brings new paths to explore. What secrets will you uncover next? Rest easy, trainer. The adventure never truly ends. If this story resonated with you, there's so much more to explore. Tap the Pokémon playlist to continue the adventure, and save it so you'll always have something soothing to fall asleep to, or choose the recommended video for another deep dive.